Buddy, hi, welcome in, welcome in.
Hi.
It's Malum, GoreMiser in the top right, Morty in the bottom left, Musi not in the bottom right yet because Musi has been making food. We're waiting on him to finish his sauce. Should be less than 5 minutes. So I figured I would send us live
We're
now
plating.
so we could say hello, check audio. Thanks to everybody who's been chilling. Basically, the idea is tonight we're doing VOD review for Smite Prime Caster. It's going to be a reoccurring thing starting roughly once a week is the ideal goal to get everybody some VOD review in, get some things improving and grow as casters, and it seemed like a good idea to turn it into content. Plus, I know there's a lot of Smite casters who, more than other esports, I feel like really care about improving their casting no matter the level too. So if you're one of those people that applies to, welcome in and thanks for hanging. Tonight we're focusing on Morty and Musi on a cast that was recently done on Smite Prime. And Gore and I will be given the feedback, a lot of GoreMiser, because one thing in particular about Morty and Musi is they've had me yap about their casting a lot. So GoreMiser is ready and raring to go. He's the nicest person ever in VOD reviews, which means tonight I'm the bully, Gore.
I'm excited for it, mostly because I don't know, casting, it's just like it's such a subjective craft. Like it's almost like telling somebody like the appropriate way to make music. Like there are certain things that are always going to be true, and then there are certain things that, hey, it was true this time, but then the other, like sometimes you have to like break whatever the rules are, right? Like you can innovate on it, you can, make it your own thing and twist it like that. So it's just like, I mean, it is like a lot of other crafts and a lot of other like arts. I always love like listening to it and yapping about it. It's just such a cool thing to do.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I haven't heard Mort, but everyone sounds chill. Mort's stuff in his face. All right, Mort, let us hear the voice after you chew, of course.
Dude.
I'll turn myself up. Thank you, Zach.
Sriracha sauce is quite spicy. Played Arena Confused for like 3 hours on the Smite game stream. Ran into Spirited Book. Fumes. Ran him down. Ran Spirited Book down. Just wanted to flex that for the chat. Book got made into mincemeat, which is what Musi is cooking right now. So,
yeah, Musi, can I get a check on your food?
Are we allowed to curse? Are we allowed to curse on cast?
It's not. That's a John Smite Prime question, Musi.
Oh wait, this is recorded. All right. This stuff bussin'. But instead of stuff,
ooh, okay.
You know what I really said. The sauce is a little thinner because I rushed it because I ran into some technical difficulties. But I think overall, very very nice. I did some chicken with herb de Provence. I made some mushrooms and onions. A steel pan cooking. Anybody know about steel pan cooking? You know what's going on, right? It's it might be heat. It might be heat. Am I stalling for time while I get into the video? That's for me to decide and for you to find out.
He's already revealing the secrets of the trade. Like as we're doing the VOD review, he's like, "Yeah, I'm buying for time."
If we want to go into VOD review, and if I can give something that happened immediately that comes up way more often than you would think, and it's a review of nobody who asked for a review so far. But what's funny is the chat prior to going live, Malum's tone and delivery versus the immediate, okay, we're live now and I'm on camera. You had the presenter voice, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Which it's not to be clear, that is not a bad thing to have. But one of the things that like always makes them feel, I think, and this, I don't know, it's not as true for like videos, so maybe it's not the same because like on streams it can be different as well, because like I feel like there's so many different varieties of content now that exist that, especially with like the damn like TikTok AI voice that just reads things all in a very specific way. There's like a world where I'm presenting this to you is the thing, and then there's times where it's like, hey, I just want to like. We had a period of time where we want it to sound like you're with two people who are just chatting about the game. And yes, there's a little more to it than that because one of these guys every now and then just starts screaming really excitedly, but they're just hanging out, talking about some game.
That's just real life.
That's just real
That
life.
happens
We
in
just
real life all the time.
talk
And
ball.
then eventually you can kind of like use it to your advantage. Like I know I did that during Founder Series with Trelly a lot, where I'd have the more like like presentable traditional caster voice at times. But then because let's all be real for a second, some of those games in Founder Series were where it would kind of turn into, all right, let me drop the facade, let me lean back in my chair a little bit, let's laugh a bit. I got some of my favorite clips from that, like the Athena ult, she's dead. Like
She's dead.
Gore had a few of
You want
those
to talk
too.
leaning back in your chair while casting? I'd be in the Max Novick seats, like all the way back, feet propped up, and I'd just be chilling while we're casting.
Yeah, that was like the
Sharon Beck
craziest
does this.
world rock. Because in my head, right, like you guys all, for the most part, I'm assuming a lot of people know what the old studio looked like, as they would pan to the casters standing in front of the TV. Well, there was 2 chairs there off to the side that, my first time at the studio, I didn't really know what to do with it. I didn't want to be the new guy instantly sitting down and reclining. And I was with J-Mac, who is... J-Mac's a little more like he goes off the flow with who he's with. I also always think of him as like the stick in the mud. It sounds mean because that's not what I mean. But like he's traditional. He's true to form casting. And then the next person I was with, or the next person I was watching, is I was on the desk and it was Dave, and I want to say it might have been Aggro. They're just like chilling, full back. One point, Dave's not even he's like looking up here. He's like talking about something. Aggro's got his drink. He's looking at the monitor behind him. He's like checking out the studio lights.
There was a significant amount of time. I can't remember when it was. It's probably mid-season 7, maybe season 8. I had to get pulled aside because they were like, look, when you're talking, I make eye contact like crazy when I'm talking with people. And it's because, like, a presenter, right? I've got to make sure, like, there's a way to make everyone feel involved. I treat eyeballs like cameras because my brain's been fried from doing this for so long. And it was specifically, I was casting with Hindu, and I kept turning to look at him while I was talking, because I was like, yeah, I'm talking to you, so I'm going to talk to you. But the problem is that would bring his attention to me, so then neither of us were looking at the screen. And he, like, after the game, he was like, "You've got to stop looking at me. Like,
That's so good.
like, just stop talking to me and watch the game, but still talk to me." But he said it like way more British.
Lore
you
accurate.
really got to cut that out. I can't do the Hindu accent for the life of me. I can do other accents, not Hindus. I can't place his. It's got a little.
We've got a game to review. Mort picked out the game for review. We're gonna try to get through one game. Lots of pausing. It's the first time we've done it, so I'm sure we're gonna go over a little bit from kind of the hour-ish we're aiming for. We are skipping picks and bans. So for anyone who decides they want to watch a lot of these and kind of tune in every time we do them, we'll eventually do ones that are a little more focused on picks and bans that night. Maybe if it's like a week where, it's Morty Musi again, let's look at picks and bans. But picks and bans are their own beast. They take a lot of time, so it just makes sense to kind of skirt past that for now.
I'm very particular about how I like picks and bans, which is another thing. Like, I feel like I could probably give a blank template, but it's like picks and bans. I have a general flow, like mentally, this is what I think it should be and how I think it should go. Once you get into the cast, those walls break down a little bit. But I feel like when you're on the desk, there's like an almost rigidity to it that doesn't flow in game the same way.
So yeah, as we get in, we're gonna be in the bottom right of your screen at home. The guys can't see this; they just see the actual YouTube stream. If anyone wants me to pause it, just shout it out, yell at me, and I will pause it. I'll pause, obviously, if I have something. Chat, I put a message in chat. It's pinned. I'm not going to be reading chat too much because this is about Morty Musi. So feel free to talk amongst yourselves about the casting. If I see something I really think I want to say, or I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point, I'll grab it. But don't feel ignored if we're not kind of looking over there the whole time, as Mort and Musi, they are the stars of the show. And I'll get Mort off this post, Musi off his post too. That was rough. My fault, gang.
That's all right. It's not. There are worse pictures of me out there, honestly. Like, all right, that's just as a collection of terrible faces.
Everybody ready? Yippee!
Let's do this.
All right.
Yippee-i-yo.
For a second, while I get through picks and bans.
All eyes are going to
position here.
Nice timestamp,
man,
Mort.
if
Good
I'm
job.
not pumped to see Aladdin.
all eyes are going to be on layers
for this next game as we dive on in. The storyline is this: will Layers thrive in the spotlight, or will he get a little too nervous and get stage fright? Morty and Musi here in the booth, along with Testai, Rosie, and
I'm pausing already because if you've never noticed it, this is the time I want to point it out. Look at Mort's picture on the caster bug in the top left. That is Mort on Dolly Parton. And if you didn't know that, now you know.
That's just how Mort looks in real life, actually.
Ethan's behind the scenes, and we've got game 2 in the best of 3 week 1 finals upon us. Musi, our aces are in our places. You've got a lot to talk about.
I just want to yap about this Aladdin more, to be honest. Aladdin is one of these characters that goes crazy nuclear in the late game, but the real sneaky thing about this character is that they have really good clear in the early game, too. So being able to whip through your jungle, what I really expect to see from Layers here is just a lot of selfish farming so that we can power farm to late. If they're gonna...
I will just say, great intro. Like, already, like, coming in, you had a point leading into the game. You kind of like did the layup of like Layers is the thing we are looking at, so everybody's going to be watching this Aladdin. You introduce everybody. Didn't say the team names, but that's not really a big deal because you were just in picks and bans and they are on the same side, so it doesn't really matter too much. Which it'd be different if it had been like a different group versus y'all. But then immediately when it's dropped, Musi goes into, let's talk about the Aladdin. Like the thing that you talked about, the big storyline, like you immediately picked up on that, and like that is like the exact way to start this off. I'm already digging it.
Yeah, it's just a smooth, like, palate cleanser is not the right word, but it's a smooth template to start, and like it kind of clears you like from picks and bans too, which is a big thing.
I mute picks and bans, and I'm like, you're on my other monitor. I don't care about what you're saying during the picks and bans. I just want to watch the game, and then we're in game. I unmute. Perfect to come into.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. I feel like that's something that I like lately in particular, because I feel like I've been talking to newer casters in the scene lately. That's a big thing for me, is like making sure that there is like a separation, there's a beat between those picks and bans conversations and starting the game, because starting the game is like it's the fresh starting point, especially too. This is something I learned a little bit in the last couple of years, is at the start of a game, if you're at a place that likes to use a lot of B-roll, that's a good spot to go grab some, as well as for people who are kind of scrolling through VODs. It's just like, oh, start of the game, let me go here. Oh, okay, got it. Start of the game, let me go here. And if it's consistent from you and there's like a beat and a pattern that they can follow, it's a really nice viewing experience.
To go to a lane, somebody better die. And I also wonder if we get to see the chance of like an early wealth wish, just to see us get extra gold from all of our camps instead of maybe going for a bonus pot from the first blood. Really, really cool. But the mid lane matchup is going to be one of the most Smite 2 coded matchups of our life. There's that wealth wish popped for Layers like we were expecting. This aspect of the Night Stalker here for Maswal turns this Xbalanque character into a mage, right? You get a bunch of damage off of
these
poison
Maswal
darts,
autos are crazy,
and you're able to get the reset there too. This character can like one-shot people in the right conditions. Heron's a good answer into it because of the silence that they have and the range that they're going to have over this X-Ball. But man, is it going to be enough? Single Bind is playing for minute 28 at this point to where we can just post up around an EFG, run at somebody.
An interesting stat that Jithens had pulled up for us. By the way, happy birthday, Jithens, if you want to put that in the Twitch chat.
Happy birthday, Jithens. Happy birthday, Jithens.
Has been picked up 8 different matches in today's bracket alone.
I never know when that's gonna pop up and occur. It always gets me. Something I want to bring up early, because I know Musi does this a lot. Musi, you had the mic for like I feel like naturally we're gonna reference like other casters. I was gonna say that was such an aggro chair to start to a game, like to the T. Like, all right, you'll get the mic back in a minute. Let me just go.
And like, this is going to be different depending on who you cast with. I love that. I don't like, there's nothing going on. There's not a damn thing I could say for this first 2 minutes means anything to anybody. I'm useless. I want you to yap about it because like I like you set up Layers really well. You talked about Maswal, you talked about Single Bind and said that they're playing for 28 minutes, so that gives like a good through line already, a point that you can like hit throughout the rest of the game. That's going to be pretty good because you're looking for late game spikes. We all kind of know that. You set it up from the beginning, so now we're going to be looking at those power spikes throughout the game. So like it's already a really good setup. But like what Malum said, where it's like it's a very aggro start, which is probably why I like it so much because I got so used to it. Where it's just there's a level of information, and if you're very like if you know the numbers and you've got stuff like that as a tier 1, you can do some of that. But like you talking about starters or relics or god choices, anything pretty much until action shows up on screen is a-okay with me, because if it comes back to me in a position like this, I'm probably going to either mention something offhand that has maybe nothing to do with what you just said, or I'm going to ask you a question about something you said or about something else that I happen to notice, right? So I think being able to hold on to it and again, doing a good share 2 thing where you're just, here's my first point. And you know what? That kind of brings me to this next point, which is the Shibalanke, which kind of brings me to where we might be in the third point, which is the length of the game or whatever. Like having those is a really big good again, thumbs upsies.
Yeah, anything you can do to buy me time as a chair 1 here, because like even on my best chair 1 days, I don't know what the hell to talk about here that you don't, unless there's something with the players. That's the only thing I ever have early, is maybe there's some storyline or there's some background information on the players I want to share. Otherwise, I'm up shit's creek without a battle. So I'm just so happy that there's someone there to talk. Yeah, and that's a good point. I said I'd grab a few from the chat. Judas Priestley said also works really well as a game 2, or in a game 2, and that's also a really good point. Because like, you know, we have a lot of game 1 stuff that we can still break down that we probably didn't get to talk about in Picks and Bans.
8 different games that Charon has been a part of. Only 1 game was a win for the Charon. That is a pretty awful win-loss ratio, but I'm sitting here thinking Hydrogen Bomb just got off of a dub. They just won game 1. They've got to have some confidence going into this, and Kaidan can get some damage out with the right build. So I'm curious to see how this goes on. You know, maybe the pick itself isn't that great, but you mentioned it's got good responses. Sunprod just pulled up in mid lane, dove the tower, can't get the kill. Very close though. And look at Layers going in for first blood. The power wish is what got him the kill. Layers isn't done there yet though. Very close, but no cigar for the second kill. That's fine. We got the first. A
Can
big
you
pull
pause real fast?
The Wealth Wish
and
too.
go back like
Layers is about to be
15
unstoppable.
seconds?
Yeah, I was waiting to see when, like, at where the drop would be, so we can go back. 15.
Well, it's mostly like right before Sunprod gets in the lane. I'm just kind of like so curious. This is where I get curious, which is the question really is, when you're chair 1ing, what are you looking at the most?
The map.
The map, okay, because that's I almost and Mal, we talked about this on Saturday. I like cast almost exclusively off the map just because of positioning, and like there's things like that. Like I feel like it's so hard for 2 reasons. One, when you're online versus in person, there's going to be, you know, vmix versus watching the game live versus like where you're at, and like when the audio delay comes through, there's like times where it's like you might have called that the minute you saw it, but so there could be some delay. But like it's also hard to choose when is a fight going to be a fight. But I feel like there's a moment where Sunprod was very obviously starting to look at mid, and you were still like trying to finish your point. And I think we said this all the time, but like one of the biggest things is to just, for lack of a better way to say it, knowing when to shut yourself up. I have a really bad problem with this. I love to yap. I talk too much. This entire thing is going to be a good example of that. And so being able to hit like hold that thought. Here's the action. Now I'm going to talk about that. Now I'm going to drop. Now I'm going to go back to the earlier point, whatever it happens to be. Just being able to hit you know what? Put a pause in that. Like just cut myself off, because what matters is what's happening. And admittedly, it wasn't Sunprod's gank that was really important. It was Layers' turnaround. But like being in the action as quick as you could, I think just like generates some of the hype. And you had like good energy behind it. I think First Blood is one of those moments where like you have to have good energy, because like it is like it's a pivotal moment that happens in every single game. It is something that is always going to be there. It's going to be an easy clip for socials. It's going to be an easy call for you, because guess what you get to do afterward? You get to just shut up and let your chair 2 do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And so it's like a really good moment to just kind of get there, lay it all out, get out. And I think you did a good job of that. I just wouldn't mind like a little snappier, which again could be, it could be a lot of different factors.
Yeah, and I'm really guilty of this, but it's something that I've like I've learned to do myself. This is something that Hindu to this day calls me out on, as not necessarily doing it wrong, but it kind of just being BS that I get away with it fairly often. I drop to myself if I ever get stuck like this, and I tend to hold late because I've become very comfortable with kind of giving myself a mental beat and then snapping into action. It's such a dangerous game to play, and you should never do it, especially if you see it coming early. But more, you kind of did do that, and that was something you did well, because once you got yourself into the mess a little bit, you did a good job of, like Gore said, of being able to transition of like, okay, well, we're diving into the tower, so now I will hold that thought. It was a little late, but you were still there, and you still were able to save it, that is an important thing to be able to do, is to get yourself out of the jam that you put yourself into.
Confidence going into this, and Kydon can get some damage out
because like right here,
right build, so
you can already see on the map, like almost as soon as that Susano like takes the turn past the gold chalice camp, it's almost a vibe of like, oh, we fighting.
So I'm curious to see how this goes on. You know, maybe the pick itself isn't that great, but you mentioned it's got good responses. Sunprod just pulled up in mid lane, dove the tower. Can't get the kill. Very close, though. And look at Layers going in for first blood. The power wish is what got him the kill. Layers isn't done there yet, though. Very close, but no cigar for the second kill. That's fine. We got the first. A big pull off the Wealth Wish, too. Layers is about to be unstoppable.
I almost wouldn't mind a little more punch to the kill itself.
Yeah, because that was pretty nasty. Like, we used 2 wishes there, which is always scary, but it seems like it was a good call because it worked out and it gives him so much benefit, just like you're saying. So I kind of like the I do think you could have gotten out a little bit quicker, potentially. Like, I think you could have done a little of both. I think you kind of had to make the choice, which the choice you made I don't think was bad. You gave like the strong, because you heard Musi say it too, because Musi called out the Wealth Wish and Musi called out the Power Wish for you, which, by the way, Musi was big because you heard it. Mort was in the thick of it, and he heard you say it and then was able to point out the same thing and kind of work it in as like, oh, now this is really important.
Mort. Yes.
But I feel like the reason I say you could have dropped it quicker isn't because you were wrong to go further. It's because I kind of heard a drop point that would have been really
very
clean.
Close, but no cigar for the second kill. That's fine. We got the first.
That's fine. We got the first. That could have been your out, and I think that would have been pretty clean, especially because you did have that lead-in point too, where you kind of had like not a chair 2 moment, but you were just talking about the game. Then you got stuck anyway, so it's a decent time to let Musi in too. And that's what Inbound actually said that in chat. You did the chair 2's job at the end, but that's kind of your call. So just food for thought. Also, hi, Bobby.
We joked about it a lot. Specifically, Dave would joke about it a lot. But, like, we always made the joke of, like, chair 1 brain dumb, right? And, then, like, it was because the idea was, like, if I'm chair 1ing, there's, like, and I'll use this as an example because me and, let's say, Aggro are casting together. His opinion has so much more weight than mine ever will. And that's going to be true in pretty much all walks of life. But, like, when it came to Smite, his knowledge, but that's also what kind of the dynamic for, like, the chair 1, chair 2. And it's not to say that your opinion doesn't matter, but it's that their opinion is important. And to the point where, like, I mean, Malum, you probably had to experience it again on Saturday when we were casting, because, like, when a fight's over, I'm not giving my opinion about that fight until after my chair 2 has said something. And it's just because what they have to say about it is going to be a lot more, like, just important, a little bit more, like, to the point. It's that's literally what their job is there to do, right? Is to give you that break, give your throat a rest. They can explain whatever they want, and if they didn't say the thing you want to say, then you can jump in and be like, yeah, and I also noticed, this thing, and it was really cool, and blah 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 blah, and it creates like the conversation between the two of you while still kind of maintaining like the sort of rigidity of roles.
Right.
Big pull off the Wealth Wish too. Layers is about.
I know. I'm having so much fun. Inbound said the same
2
thing.
minutes into the video,
I missed this score. Like,
Bobby, pull up. The world needs you.
About to be unstoppable.
Don't be scared.
Dude, Layers getting that first blood is actually critically important for this.
Musi, we're giving you a lot of gas, so I'm going to tear you down later, but I want to give you another, just a quick compliment.
And you're so lucky my Smite 2 knowledge is terrible, because otherwise...
yeah, there's a little bit
I'm
of that.
ready for negative feedback.
But no, I just want to give you one nice pickup. picking up the mic quickly on vMix is hard as hell, and that was a very fast pickup. So you must know Mort's voice really well by this point, which is just a plus. And I noticed Mort did the same thing to you when he picked up to begin all this mess in the first place. And Mort, that was really good too. Like, it's just, I think it's so much more impressive to pick up a microphone quick on vMix just because it's so hard inherently. There's so many different delays, especially for us in Prime. I know Justin's feels the same, but like we've got like 7 different delays basically going through before we actually are seeing what we're seeing and talking. So just picking up quick is just mwah.
Because we are just trying to get.
Go back a bit.
Dude, Layers getting that first blood is actually critically important for this Aladdin because we are just trying to get online. Sumprod's on the hunt though. Layers cannot stick around to get his just desserts for these oracles. Oh, you're making me so scared, man.
Yeah, mana's low for Layers. Throws the Q-Fic out to at least take one oracle away.
You know what?
Neither team's gonna get.
Yeah, I was gonna pause there too because I know exactly what you were going for, Musi. And it's not entirely your fault it didn't work out. I know what you were going for.
Well, it's like, it's kind of twofold. You highlight that Layers is like, or that Sunprod's out for the hunt.
Yeah.
So there's like a moment there where your decision has to be, am I holding this until there is actually guaranteed fight? Or am I just shutting up and letting Mort take over and let him see, like, go through, hey, they're fighting over the whatever and blah, 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 the Harpies, but Sunprod dashing out, gonna be safe. The other option is to just ignore the hell out of it. Just be like, until somebody actually looks like they're in danger, it does not matter. I'm gonna talk about what I say. But yeah, like being able to, you know, like being able to ignore kind of like what's going on if you don't think it's going to become, and this is where I think chair chewing is incredibly difficult because one of the hardest things you have to do is judge whether or not what is happening on screen is actually about to become a fight or a kill, which is so damn difficult in a MOBA because so many things can happen at any given second. But like in that moment, there was a point where I wish you either had dropped or the alternate where I wish you had never thought to drop, right? Never even, you know, like touched on it, like, oh, you know, Layers and Sunbroad poking at each other around the Harpies. But to continue my point, right? And to like just kind of like gloss over it, like mention it so people know what's going on. So if you do have to get out, they're recognizing that there could be action right here, but not so much that you are then only locked in on this is the fight that's happening. So you just kind of
double dipped in a really skillful way in some regards because you did I can hear that you were doing I'm talking about a thing, but I'm looking just in case. Do I need to? I don't need to. But you were saying that, not just doing it. Because one of the perks of doing that, like that technique, I guess you could say, is that you're doing it so that you can continue your thread of thought on something that isn't what's going on, but you're giving yourself the out to Mort. And Mort, in theory, should be listening for the same thing, which I think he was because he picked up pretty quickly. But it's okay, I'm talking about my thing. I can see this in front of my eyes. Maybe I address it like Gore said, or maybe I just keep talking about my thing until I can't. And then, like, you're out. But I feel like if you're going to do that, you should almost keep on your point. Because if you do that and also call it, that kind of defeats the purpose of doing it in the first place, you know? Like Inbound said, you don't want to chair one it because you dropped quickly and you chair one did. You kind of were double dipping a little bit in both sauces.
Yeah.
That is a Mifflin moment though. That bro chair 2 or chair 1 from chair 2 all the time.
Yeah.
We had to get I'm gonna say it now because just in case it happens here. The amount of times he would mention the kill count, the minute marker, or the gold count. And the amount of times we had to rip into him to stop doing that as a chair 2. Those are chair 1 things. The top of this screen means nothing to you if you're chair 2. Your item box is the only thing that you should care about.
It's mine! Like, I got like 2 things I know what to talk about, bro. I can read the numbers.
It's been 15 minutes. They haven't restarted the game.
It's a sidebar. It's a sidebar, Gore, but it involves Dilo, who is also a Smite Primecaster, and Musi. So we're doing a tri-cast, right? It's me, Dilo, and Musi. I was in the the main one conductor role. D'Lo was kind of that like that 1.5, a little bit of 2, a little bit this and that. Musi was the true 2, and we're going about it. D'Lo kept taking my game recaps. I was like, bro, I have 2 things to do in this game. I call fights and I state the game, and then let you guys yap. You cannot state the game. So then I just started calling it out.
Cast, I was gonna say well, if in a 2-person cast, I'd let it slide a couple times, and then I'd mention it maybe like between games.
Yeah.
The minute it's 3 people, I'm messaging the instant that I have the ability to. I'm like, shut up and let me do that.
Yeah,
like,
I got 2 things I'm here to do this game, brother. Everything else is yours.
And state of the game.
Anyway.
Vision on the.
Ooh. Well, no, before we go. Mort, I know you feel like this is Musi Town. It's just because it's early. Your time's going to come, I pinky promise. Especially because you have 2 true ones with you. You know, shout out. But ball knowers know about stats and spreadsheet GoreMiser. So don't take that as a GoreMiser doesn't too. That's just a recency bias thing. But Inbound said you should make people care about the whys, Musi. Why is that first one important? Down. Why should people care? Which, I mean, always a valid point, always a diving deeper thing. And I feel like, especially in your current role, because you and Spirited Book have a very unique niche right now on the Prime team where you're really the only 2 true 2s. You guys have all the game knowledge, you know? So it's like, that's you've earned it. You get to be the ones who are setting that standard of how, of just diving deep on it. And I feel like you really need to take as much advantage of it as you can. Yeah, you should nurge when you think it's important. Exactly.
Nurge. I'm writing that down in all caps.
Sunprod got both. Sunprod's going to have
he got both.
Very nice.
Not too.
Also, Mort, I know you got a little silly. I like how you handle this because you kind of got the awkward end of the stick here because Musi dropped after everything ended, and you're just kind of like, oh, hee, this thing didn't happen. Anyway, back to you. Like, there's nothing else for you to do. So you do it. This is perfect. I mean, there's a world you could be a little sassy and almost take a little bit of 2 here just because you got griefed, but I like how you handle this. You're just like, oh, hee, haha. Okay, back to you. Go ahead.
Too shabby at all. Whew. All right. We took the pot off the kettle. The pot off the kettle. Yeah, that's right. We love stacking kitchen equipment around here. We get a chance to cool down. Look at that gold per minute from Aladdin. Oh my gosh, we were hitting like almost 700. So now that you've got your Aladdin on a good start, it's time to get your Transcendence online, your Book of Thought online, and just keep up the farm game, right? Just keep on that aggression so that you can get to that late game as soon as possible. Really cannot stop talking about that enough. But you can see already moving towards a solo lane. Single Bind is going to keep up that jungle pressure, but being the first ones over at Rocks.
Yeah, Rocks is going to be
This was a perfect example, by the way, of exactly what we just said, where it's just like, there was stuff going on screen, did not matter, wasn't going to be a kill. If it got kind of close to one, you were ready to jump out, and I could see and like kind of hear you had little breaks and like where you were speaking just in case. But like, you knew it wasn't really that big a deal, so you just kept on with your point. That's exactly what that's literally the perfect example.
Yeah, and you're getting Mort the microphone for Firebrands, which, I mean, as they become more important, like, I like giving him the choice here, because even if because there's more than one person at a thing that matters in the game right now, I like you giving that choice to Mort to decide how he wants to play it, because if nothing happens, Mort can play it that way. If something happens, Mort's got the mic now. I like that personally. If Firebrands were less important, like if that was a neutral camp or something, it'd be a little less like imperative, but I really like that with Firebrands. I'm a greedy chair too. I wouldn't even drop here because the early game I want to make my impact. Yes.
I was actually gonna ask because I heard myself drop there, and I'm kind of like, I didn't really say anything, and I'm wondering if I should have just kept.
I think you maybe could have held until you knew there was action of Firebrands, or maybe the camera brought us over there and they were like actively contesting Firebrands.
Yeah.
No,
I also think it's
let it play. He timed it good.
Okay.
Oh, sorry,
I was going to say it also depends kind of on what your chair one wants. Right? Like if Mort is one that like,
Rocks is gonna be
hey, I only want it if I want to fight, then only let him have it for a fight, you know?
Or low. A good disperse will take Hydrogen forward, looking for a kill.
Yeah, that was quick and they're already gone, so.
There is some poke damage coming through from Bayro as well, so that could work out their way. Paralyzing Spit finds the stun, but a Spirit Ball in response and knocked into the wall. A good impale from Hydrogen. We'll get some damage
We're
out.
real deep in this play-by-play for just the boxing and duo, though, Mort. I'm not sure. I feel like you don't need to be this deep on it, just because it's a lot of like...
I remember it being more than it was. That's bad on me.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of had it, and like to the point I made earlier, I thought there was going to be a bigger deal about firebrands, and then because nothing happened there, you kind of had the mic. But you're just very in on this fight, where the knockup from the on her, like maybe sure, especially if the impale had hit. But once that doesn't hit, like there's no reason we should be talking about any kind of boxing right here, especially knowing it's like Donut Doug and Hydrogen, because you know these guys aren't going to be like creep players and just randomly int for no reason here. They're going to play this smart. So this should definitely just be Musi talking us through this, and then the same thing.
It's since you already had it, right? Like in the ideal world, Musi probably is still just going. But since you already had it, if you were dropping, or if you wanted to, like if you pick it up, you have a little bit of action, but then like Malum says, like it kind of fizzles out, and you're like, well, all right, we're calming down. This is a really good time, since you're in the duo lane, to bring up a duo lane, like to ask, like, you know, and we haven't really gotten to talk too much about this. How do you feel about like the ESET support mixed with the on her for the lane? Like early game so far, they've managed to stay even. How do you feel about it? Even that was honestly too wordy. That what I just said was way too much. You could have just said, ask a question, like just wow, and like ESET support. How do you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
That might have been too short. There's a healthy middle somewhere in there.
Or do what I did, and the very first tier 2 point I hit was stealing Bobby's flow and just talking about the Bobby build for ADCs, because that could buy me 5 minutes. Whatever works for you. And you know, again, Musi, this is going to be something that like you and any other the chair 2s that you know that anybody works with is going to have their opinion of. But like Aggro hated being asked questions, and it wasn't because he hated being asked the question. It's just because whatever he had to say was more important and intelligent than whatever you were going to ask 90% of the time, unless your name was John Finch. Like, there's literally one person that Aggro was like, you ask questions, everybody else just drop and let me talk. Which is why I have a bad habit of no longer asking any questions. But like, I think, you know, that is a really big strength, especially between like the two of you, because again, it's kind of like a conversation. And like, I feel like there's almost a benefit to where I'm at right now, because like my Smite 2 knowledge is genuinely very low. I know the gods because they were in Smite 1. I do not know what half the aspects do. I don't know what half the abilities do anymore. Neith was in a bad spot on
Saturday. And so like there are going to be times where I just say like, this is what I remember and this is what I know. I'm going to ask a question because like sometimes I genuinely need to know, and sometimes I know the answer. I just need you to talk now, and I don't want to keep going anymore. So I'm gonna say, how do you feel about Bluestone Pendant? That's a pretty cool item, huh? And I might sound stupid, but that's sometimes just the way it's supposed to be.
My favorite is like, yo, aspect, describe it. Like, that's one of my favorites. That or like, we pretend like, this is my first Smite 2 game. What is an aspect? What are those gold things at the top?
And I think it's always fun to treat it as there are people who are watching, like players that are in this game are going to watch it, right? And so sometimes you want something that can maybe wow them or impress them, but 9 times out of 10, whoever's playing probably knows what they're doing way better than I do. And especially like from a Chair 1 perspective, there's very little I'm going to say there, but like it's also someone's first match. It's someone who's never seen the game, who has never heard of Smite, who might have just seen, oh wait, it's gods? I like gods. Let me see what this is about. Clicks on it. They have no idea what's going on. They don't need to be like catered to fully, but they need to feel kind of respected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like a weird balance of like, let's get in the super nitty gritty, but also let's explain what ESET ult does. Yeah. Yes, everyone should know that, but like sometimes there's someone who doesn't. And I think the further on, like this is a finals, the bigger the event, the what do we say? The dumber we made it, right?
That's how it be,
the bigger the event, the dumber it needs to be. So
Jithin
this is one of the
4
things
minutes
where,
into this game. That's how it be.
This is Jithens, what you're experiencing is why when we would do meetings of this, we'd set 3 hours up on a Thursday. We would maybe watch a game and a half if we were lucky. Like,
yeah.
I'm glad that this is a universal experience because I've done VOD reviews with other people and I'm like, all right, it's been like 30 minutes, we're 5 minutes, man. Let's just.
Although shout out to all the CFC players, but also big shout out to all the casters and production people from like around the different community leagues that are in here. That is big W. I know I saw Sun Prodigy before was like, we're VOD reviewing casting? That's passion. All right, but let's hit play.
Not quite a kill. Looks like the Firebrands went their way while we were looking over here on the left side of the map for some very close kill potential too. I really thought Aurora was going to be toast there for a moment.
All right, I actually have a Mort comment.
We got 10 more seconds, boy.
I would like to pretend this will be a quick comment. I don't think it will. I want to address this first and set this precedent that Mort, you have an amazing voice. I really hope you know that. It's so good. I really hope there's no world that anything I say to you makes you think that your voice isn't working or isn't good or anything like that. Because your voice is so deep, in my opinion, this is, again, casting subjective. This doesn't have to be something you agree with. It's just something I've noticed about your casting. Be careful, because sometimes if you fall a little bit too low in your register and like a little bit too relaxed, because you're so deep, it can almost get, like, to me, too deep to listen to a little bit. Just a little bit. Because if you get really like, you know, you're like down here and we're it just gets a little, it's not what you sound like when we're talking and hanging out when you talk more chill. So just be a little bit careful. Again, it's not something that's like really bad. I don't want you to think this is something you do a lot. Just every now and again, if you notice yourself like, because you're bringing the energy down, which is good here, as you should, just don't go too low on it, because then we lose some like personality. It almost becomes a little bit just like, you know, you don't want
my
that.
cope is I was sick. I woke up like really congested today. Like I was sick throughout like a bunch, and I still am like a little congested now. But like I remember waking up today and was like, Jithens, I feel like crap. And Jithens like, you mean find somebody? I was like, no, I'll thug it out. But like,
no, yeah,
there are
I get
some
that.
through this day specifically where I was just like,
I feel that.
That's why I was over.
100%.
Been there.
What reminds me of that one contestant from the caster that had that radio voice? Oh, it was Dwarf. The dwarf, I forgot what his name actually was.
Yeah, he worked in radio too, if I remember correctly.
Wasn't he like was it hockey? Might have been hockey.
I don't remember that much.
It's the memory. He had a real like, you know, like, hello everybody, welcome on into Single Bind versus Hydrogen Bomb. It was like one of those. Definitely like raise your bass settings in your mic if you can adjust your equalizer, just little things like that, because you just don't want it to get like too low. Again, nothing to do with your voice, as like your voice is amazing. It's truly like a one of a kind voice. So I want you to think I don't mean otherwise.
Cake.
Yeah, you just, because it's so good, you don't want too much of a good thing, and you can fall into that.
I mean, Aurora needs to be careful on this Kerberos pick. Eset
I want more Musi on it.
Very well into it. She's able to turn off a lot of the damage from Kerberos because she's got the silence in response to the ghastly breath. Kerberos tries to jump on you.
Slow down.
Right?
We're excited.
Not too scared of the Kerberos, can play at range and away from them. So we're really relying on Donut Doug's Medusa damage to get us across the finish line against Baby Gop and Hydrogen here. Or, you know, again, a similar story, just kind of chilling out, right? The Medusa into the On Her, I feel like she doesn't have the best matchup, just because On Her's kind of CC immune ultimate. That is.
Pausing again. So there was two comments I wanted to respond to. One, I'm going to respond to you quickly. Asinus, actually, there is going to be some production VOD review that's going to happen internally for Smite Prime. I don't know if they're planning on streaming it or not, or if they're making content out of it. That is a thing that's going to happen. But Inbound said, Musi, do you care about Serb or Curb, or are you talking about Cerberus because he's on camera?
I was talking about him because we just got done with a scuffle in the dual lane, and I was like, well, I've been yapping about Aladdin for 5 years. I should probably talk about these goobers over here.
Okay, I will say I've definitely been in that spot where I'm like, do I really want to talk about the junglers like again?
But alternative
I figured I'd use that as a
there were mid laners we hadn't touched on. The Firebrands did go uncontested single bind on, you know, on top
Still
of the
haven't talked about ESET, just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
I don't know how often or how common that was, but
I don't feel great about
ESET
saying like
support used to be
100% you were wrong. Just wanted to give it a Yeah, exactly what Iman said. I still want to make sure you know that like there's always another option for you in particular as a tier 2 to not just lock in on what's in front of you.
I also view it, and like this is true from either chair. And I always feel a little bad for it, and I guess I also got used to it because Doug was really good. But like, don't be afraid to direct the camera subtly. Like, and you know, I'll ask for things like the gold charts and stuff like that. But like, being able to like, if you just want to talk about the mid lane, be like, you know what? I want to focus in on the mid laners because that kind of clues in. Whoever's on production can be like, oh, okay, let's go hover over the mid laners while we talk about this, right? Like, just giving them like the ability to switch to whatever you think is more relevant. So that way it kind of feels like a full top to bottom production. And most of the time, if they're listening to the cast, they're going to do it anyway. So you can you don't have to like be super pointed about it, but being able to like ignore what you see, like unless a fight's going on, most of the time the middle of the screen is maybe one of the most useless areas on the screen because like items are so important. The graph in the bottom left, the ult charges, like where the map is and like who's on the mini map going where, like all of these little things like on the sides are really where like the interests and the I think the big conversations lie.
It's like if you're a big football person, it's like it's easy to talk about the quarterback and then throwing to the wide receiver, but what about the linebacker? Like how's he lined up? What's the defensive coverage? Do they know it's a pass? Or are they set up for a run? It's that kind of concept, I think, if you wanted to compare it to something that's more traditional sports.
Medusa while she would try to ult, and Pillar does very well into Medusa because Lacerate can get caught on the Pillar, and because of the giant slow field, it gives on her some more room to play with.
Without pausing.
So check out Sunprod hiding around the corner. Aurora by himself gets pulled out of the gassing press. Soul expulsion to safety for just a moment. Desert Fury will find the kill. Well, Sunprod will get credited for it. Petrify slows down too. Layers is there and it hits the lamp. Now you're in my territory. Layers is deucing up Sunprod, but the Typhoon thrown out to maybe save Sunprod's life. Still on the chase. Does have a speed buff, but Layers hits the knockup. Good damage from Layers, throws the Q-Fic out, and then taken out of the lamp. Layers cleans up Sunprod, puts him on a poster.
Figure I'll pause there. One of our first true team fight calls for Mort.
Immediately say, I love that you stayed with the fight. Like, the biggest issue, I think, a lot of Chair 1s, and I'm going to say when they're starting out, you're very obviously not starting out and have been doing this for a while, so this is why you're probably so much better at this. But, like, one of the biggest things people fall into the habit of is just, ooh, a kill popped up there. I need to read what happened kill-wise. Like, when Doug died, I can think of at least 5 people that in the past would have stopped everything they were saying to make sure they mentioned that he died. But instead, you were locked in. All we can see right now is the Aladdin fight. We're going to look at the Aladdin fight. And when we get out, you might be able to say, hey, it's a 2 for 2 trade or a 2 for whatever the hell it was just now. And like you can give the numbers eventually, but I love that you just stayed with the engagement that we're watching.
I agree. I also feel
there are also times where you shouldn't do that, but that was a really good example of when you should.
Yeah. The drop from Musi and the pickup were good. The drop was perfect. The pickup was pretty good. I do think I feel like I'm accidentally stepping into that like actually role, but you could have been a little better on it only because you had that like placeholder while you figured it out, where in theory you should have kind of been ready because they were starting to all gather around that neutral camp, but that's a nitpick, just because I think you're good enough for nitpicks. There's a world where if you skip that kind of beat, now we're in team fight, there's a world where Musi's drop was really, really fucking good, freaking good, sorry, John Smite Prime, that when you pick up quickly, it's so clean because it's the perfect drop into now we're in the team fight.
Yep.
And this Aladdin character is just so mobile. Even Susano has some difficulty staying away from them. Meanwhile, outside of the lamp, a whole host of chaos was going down. Ultimately, the dual lanes kind of equalize out a little bit because Donut Doug did take the rough and tumble, but the 2-0-1 Aladdin to start things off is kind of scary. Sunprod's a momentum-based gamer. They really need to have that hit the ground running mentality that they're so consistently able to find. Sunprod very skilled at making sure that they can set themselves up for success, but Layers is having their moment now, where now they get to have
A little less on the answering points, Mort. You did it a bunch of early. I'm fine usually with that because I like obviously having a conversation with Musi. But in this particular Musi time, you've done it a lot for some reason. Just a lot of right, yeah. It almost makes it sound like you're wanting the mic, which I know you don't. It's not always a thing worth noting, but for some reason in this one you're doing it a bunch. So just keep it in your head, not to like overdo the podcast I'm acknowledging you thing.
Also going to double down on something that Inbound mentioned because this is something that
I thought you might.
Once you realize it, it makes so much sense. But like when a fight happens, there were a lot of things that you just said that were really good. They could have been 30 seconds later while you broke down the fight first and then get into them, because that gives, not only does it buy you time, it makes sure that you still have points to go through. Because again, right now, are we expecting a ton of kills over the next 5 minutes? Admittedly, depending on the level of play, sometimes yes. I mean, we had one game, this last one, that was like 42 kills in 24 minutes or something.
Yeah, you gotta
and so sometimes it's like, hey, you don't have a chance to say any of the cool stuff that you actually wanted to say. But in times where the game is going to be slower, like the biggest example I can give is we had the lowest kill count game that's ever existed was a 4 kill count SPL game, at least competitively. That is the like. There are times where you're never going to get to say the things you want to say, but there are times where there's going to be 4 kills in your game. And you need to make sure that even when there's 4 kills in the game, you are still entertaining and having a good conversation. And so sometimes that's like, hey, you know what? It's only going to take me 20 seconds to maybe break down this fight because there wasn't that much going on. But being able to talk about, hey, here's what the Aladdin did and why it was good. And then here's what happened to Donut Doug and why it was important that happened, in the grand scheme of things. And now let's talk about the fact that, in Sunprods 1 and 2, momentum, being able to kind of build off from the fight into the grand point of the game.
It's funny, it's kind of the inverse of the idea of energy-wise for Chair 1s. What do you do if there's 2 pentakills? Can you find that little bit more of energy, or do you have to adjust yourself and keep your energy from getting too crazy too early once stuff gets big? It's like the exact inverse of that for Chair 2s, where like Bobby said it, Gore said it. What do you do if there's just nothing in the game and the Chair 1 needs you because they're out of things and it's boring? Like, what do you do? I think that's a really interesting point. Jithens, by the way, is like, we're almost past 6 minutes.
Have their good start. Now the question is, how can you just force that down? Transcendence online, Lucerne Hammer in hand, Book of Thoth should be around the corner. Take a look at who doesn't have beads and isolate them inside the lamp. Sunprod, there with the blink. Snatty, yeah, maybe you could ult the solo laner. I'm not saying you probably should, but Issa could be somebody that you take a look at as well. You put her alone in a lamp with Aladdin, you're gonna have a bit of a tougher time.
Remakami.
Nice.
Be careful. Some
Let's go, Mort!
in the bush. Just pounced him, but Remakami's ready for the fight. He's got the damage on board. Typhoon
We're looking at our map.
It definitely hurts.
Chills.
Remakami went from full health to less than half, so that's unfortunate, but no kills go down. Sunprod's not going to contest the blue buff either. We did our damage. We scared away Remakami. That's all we need, right? Snatty just needed a little bit of help to handle this Remakami's RDO pick.
I mean, RDO is very good into the Susano because of that giant cripple field. Just a character that very much struggles to go in on her. Single bind moving around this purple buff, though. Look at Layers just being so aggressive.
Okay.
that is such a good amount of energy, though, because that's exactly how I also feel about that moment of just like, okay, because like there's a part of like
getting jump scared.
That's your brain trying to figure out what the hell you're supposed to say to what Musi just dropped for you. Because you're just like, all right, you said like what Sunprod, playing like getting aggressive. They're over here with the purple buff, but they're already backing off by the time you have the maps or the mic. So you're just like, I guess I'll talk about them running away here in a second.
Yeah, that was a toughie. I kind of think in that instance, I feel like the simplest thing is just I mean, once we're stepping that aggressive to the buff and we're fighting, it probably needs to be more kind of deciding where we go in my brain. But I think that was just a time where one of you had to trust the other one to decide where we were going with that. Like, are we just letting this be a purple invade that nothing happens and it fizzles, or are we treating this like it could be a fight and we're calling the purple invade and making it a big deal over who gets the purple? There had to kind of be an unspoken decision there.
We said earlier, right, where it's like a, either drop sooner or hold on to it longer, right? Like unfortunately there's the awkward middle ground, which is the easiest part to hit. It's the biggest part of the target,
which is kind of where we landed too.
I talked through the thing that would have been action, and now I've dropped it when all of the action's gone. So like holding on to it, I like in moments like that. I actually think you handled the purple buff well. I just wouldn't have minded if you just then kept going, right? Like, and then
that's what I think too.
Who is that? Baby Gup? Like, if Baby Gup gets an insane stun, or if Sunprod somehow manages to close this gap and is on top of somebody, then it's like, oh, now I get out because there's actually going to be a fight. But as it is right now, you could just probably leave it and keep on yapping.
Yeah. I think once you get late, you need to know where we're late. We're in deep. Let me get us to a point where it's a cleaner drop, or like we've said a few times now, just get out earlier, kind of let Mort feel it out, and then Mort will either take it through the whole thing, or he might give it back to you if he just deems like, all right, we might dance, but this isn't anything. He might just hand it right back.
There's no shot. If you gave this to me and we were in person, I'd probably just be like, so how big, like a steal like that, how big is that? Because I'm not talking, bro. Like, this is not my job right now. So I'm going to give it right back to you.
Yeah, I wish we, I mean, obviously I wish we were in person, but it was one thing I really liked about casting with Inbound in particular. He really liked to point at the map and at the screen for things he wanted to talk about, or things that like maybe he felt like I was missing if I was on chair 1 and like I was missing like a gank incoming. Instead of him verbally saying it, he would point. So obviously doesn't apply here, but just kind of the idea of like what you're trying to feel out too while casting with each other. Because even though you're on person, you two have cast together, I think, enough that you have that kind of chemistry that you can feel that out from each other if you're listening for it.
Players is gonna be...
Also, I lowered the quality. I know bitrate's dying. Sorry for that, gang.
I like this aggressiveness. I think, obviously the Wealth Wish is over by this point. The Power Wish is down as well. Layers has...
Oh, that did not fix it, so
less resources to work with, but if anything, you can get Transcendent stacked up by just doing damage to people. Just these skirmishes alone will help Layers get some extra stacks under his belt. So I'm a big fan of this early aggression that might not result in kills, but at least it's getting Layers to where he needs to be, right? Firebrand spawning, and I mean, Layers is right on top of it, but meanwhile, a skirmish over here in duo lane, impaled into the wall. Aurora soaks some damage.
I fear we have baited ourselves
from much more happening.
Speaking of Aurora, check out this Erosion first item that they've got here. That's a direct response, not only to the E-set that generates a lot of shields, but the Charon as well. That is also going to be making a bunch of shields and 2 shells there. So Aurora's getting a lot of value out of this pick. The counter build strategies are alive and well.
Ramakami's
so Kerberos will be able to feel a little bit more effective in these fights, even though E-set plays very well.
Well, while it's buffering anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gore, you go first.
I was gonna, but the Mort made amazing points, but also there was a moment in the middle of it is, why are you the one telling me this? Which is not like against you, because the points you made were really good, but it's just kind of like an unfortunate position where, again, it's just because like Musi dropped in a kind of awkward spot. So now there's like not necessarily like a certain length you feel like you need to talk, but like you've got the mic and you feel like, well, we've got to make it worthwhile. You make a really good point, but it's one of those things where it's like, this probably could have just been Musi talking about whatever Musi wanted to talk about.
And then you got stuck in duo, and now we're calling a semi-fight, and now like we're really deep, so if we were to drop now, Ramakami's rotated mid, so like you're probably going to get it back soon. It just gets you in a messy spot.
And that's the real issue is, and the way I would highlight it is, if a fight actually broke out there, right? Like it didn't, so it kind of just makes it just feel like maybe a little awkward, but like overall, it's not that big a deal. But if a fight breaks out there, you've already been talking for like 20-25 seconds, and now you have a team fight to go through as well. And so it's hey, I've already been using the wind. This is kind of my tone of voice. We're talking about transcendence. We're kind of in the sticks and in the mud. And now, oh God, and now I have to get my breath so I can go in for the team fight. And like it kind of ruins like where your pacing is. And like it's one of those things like that's why there's like this ebb and flow where it's like the way I've always described it when I chair too is I'm there to make it so that when you need to be ready and in, you can be ready and in. So I can shut up whenever I need to, but I'm there to let you breathe until you need to go. And so like being able to do that, but again, have it be a conversation entertaining, that's the hard part of it. And this one, it really just kind of comes down to awkward timing, unfortunately.
That's something that I'm not afraid to do even on remote casts that I feel like does throw some people off guard.
It is hard remote.
But kind of just interjecting like it were a conversation on Discord and just trying to make it feel like that. I do it with Musi a lot to like expand on points or get him to dive deeper, or if I don't want the microphone and like we're kind of in a downtime, I do it to literally just give him a second to breathe and then he gets it back as I say, you know, just for whatever, let's pretend he gave the transcendence point. I might go in and be like, plus you can double stack it. And that's it. Like I might just interject that on the other end of it. And the reason I even bring up this point at all is because Musi, I would have loved to see you do that here, because you could have very well like helped Mort out a little bit and kind of given him that life preserver of, okay, Mort's kind of stuck. I can hear him talking about a fight in duo that isn't actually a fight. Let me just say, again, for example, to further on your point about transcendence, Mort, like literally rip from him. That because not ideal, obviously, but chair 1s rip from 2s all the time. There is no world where chair 2s can't rip from a chair 1 when it's necessary or needed, or you genuinely are helping them. Like, I feel like people don't hear that from chair 1s often, but I think that's something that you need to not be afraid to do as a 2, especially when the chemistry is good. Because one thing newer casters get told is like, if you don't know the caster, that's really hard to do. You guys know each other. You're really good friends outside of casting. So it's really easy here, Musi, for you to interject, say something, and Mort can pick it up as like, oh, okay, got it. And then like he kind of just naturally, smoothly lets himself out and lets you take over. 8 minutes, by the way, Jisons. We're doing good.
Yeah, we're getting into it.
That's what, man. You said you were trying to do one of these a week, and I'm like, bro, do you have 3 hours a week?
Right?
Well, a bear goes where a bear pleases. That's just bear 101.
That's nature. Bear 101. I took that class. Yeah, Professor Honeyworth. Yeah. Did you have Professor Trout?
I think I might have had a different professor. I didn't go to class. I'll be honest with you. I failed the class. I didn't go. I only remember
Bear
the first
101?
day. I failed Bear 101, Muse. I don't know what to tell you.
The fishing section was very
good. The gay
good.
community in shambles.
And Pride Month, no less.
That's it. That's
Come on, Mort.
White boy summer.
Happy Pride.
Posted this on YouTube. Let's go.
Oh, Boswell, you gotta be careful. Sun prawn blinking in and it gets stunned from Bear
there's the
who
sickness.
just showed up. But wait a minute. Look at the river Styx. Oh, it almost hit Boswell. That was very close, but no cigar. Runs back in, hits the poison darts. Down goes Sun
Mort's in
prawn.
hell right
Soul
now.
expulsion, the body block, and Baronary seems to be in trouble.
Okay, we got air
Silence for
back.
just a
We're
moment, but it
saved.
didn't silence the slow. Double kill for Layers, and this guy is snowballing better than ever. We talked about it earlier. Will Layers thrive in the spotlight, or will he get stage fright? This guy's ready for the main stage.
That was
right.
there was a lot of close but no cigar so far in this cast.
Yeah, probably. Great. I like being goofy.
Who's gonna be dashing where?
Good goofy boys. Great transition immediately into the fight. You were sick, so like what Malum said, where it's like you can kind of hear, oh, you need some more air, but like there's only so much you can do about that if you're literally struggling to breathe. You get your air, you keep going, you cover the fight, you do a great job, and then not only that, you bring up the point you made coming into this game, and I love that. You gave yourself a pillar at the beginning, and you immediately said, here's my pillar again. Remember, these are the foundations I built the game on. And like just mentioning it, I hope that it gets mentioned one more time. It kind of depends on what Layers does, because if he falls apart, that gives it to you. If he, continues to tear it up, that gives it to you. If he just levels out and doesn't really do anything, then it's kind of whatever. But like that ability to just reference the kind of through line that you've given yourselves, for what you said, Mort, coming into it, is can layers, stand in the spotlight and do it, mentioning that. And for Musi, you've hit it a couple times already in the game, but like mentioning that you're playing for late game if you're single bind. And now the perfect thing is, with Mort saying this, you can start talking about the fact that they're getting ahead and how that gets that timer from like 28 minutes that you said earlier down to like 23 now, where suddenly they have a faster pace because they're ahead. And if they can keep this up, then they can keep going. And like, it gives you that storyline to really lean in.
Musi, you asked me, like, when I was talking about, when I gave the kind of big 3 things that we're going to work on, which, for context, for anyone checking this out, it was building storylines. Oh gosh, there was a couple more. I wrote them out, but a big one was building storylines and kind of interconnecting Smite Prime. And Musi said, well, how do we do that? This is what I mean. Like, this is how. Just interconnecting conversations, interconnecting players to gods, to storylines, and making it through. Inbound said this. If you watched any sports commentary ever, they're never right, dude. Hardly ever. They just say things. Like, if you know who Stephen A. Smith is,
he just makes stuff up.
He doesn't say things that are real. Like, but his opinions are so highly valued because he's telling this, like, you're just telling the storylines when they are accurate and correct and are here the pillar, like layers. It's so good. Like it's so good. But that's what I mean. That's the interconnecting storylines. That's how you make it happen. It isn't like as grandiose as it is occasionally. Sometimes it really is just like game to game, day by day of layers, story. Let's talk about it.
4-0-1. This Aladdin's got 2 levels up over Sunprod on the Susano. And remember, once this Aladdin gets to that late game, we are just one-shotting squishies and chunking away at tanks. It is not a joke. This is, in fact, real life. And the Charon mid that we're seeing piloted by Kaidon doing pretty well in the slash so far, 1-0-0, Soul Reaver online. But Maswal's Xbalanque has gone largely unchecked. Like, you've got 3 assists, a level up over your mid laner, just
nice
being able to safely
Musi.
farm. And that is the exact opposite of what you want if you're Hydrogen Bomb. We really got to keep the Xbalanque in check too, because while there's so much talking and focus on this Aladdin, the Xbalanque can be just as scary towards the late game once they're able to get everything online. It's another situation where Single Bind has a late game team and they're winning in the early game. Some writing is showing up on the wall here, and it's speaking to a Hydrogen Bomb potentially having to go to a game 3 if they can't cut the bleeding now.
Look how low Snatty is, but still.
Okay, I'm pausing here. I know this is going on, but Spirited Book asked a question, and Book, for those tuned in, listening, watching content, Spirited Book, obviously another Smite Prime caster, so important to bring it up. Book said, who makes the stories, by the way? C2s?
Everybody.
Answer's kind of yes. It depends on a lot of stuff. I like Inbound's answer a lot. Chair 2 should kind of write the in-game story of the comps, and Chair 1 is a lot of the out-of-the-game, like, more grandiose stuff, more of the the players said this in the back room earlier, whereas the Chair 2 is like, and his Susano is horrible. Like, that's not calling Sunprod Susano horrible, just like, again, example's sake. Like, oh, I heard earlier. Well, like, you hear, like, one you would hear a lot in SPL. The reason I make this point in particular is you might hear, I feel like I used to hear F. Dot do this a lot. You'd hear him say, like, earlier out in the lobby, I heard them talking about playing Susano. And then you would hear, you'd hear Musi or Anatolia, whoever, pick up, and you would hear them say, yeah, and the response from the other side is, well, sure, pick the Susano, dude. Your Susano sucks. Like, that's the kind of, I'm being a little, like, I'm over dramatizing the point, but that's kind of the, like, idea, I think, from what Inbound's point is, and I agree with it. Like, you're focused on the deep interconnecting gameplay stuff, whereas Chair 1s were really good about building the grandiose dramatic story of it. This is their moment, their lives are on the line, they've played for this moment their whole lives, Layers has always wanted this, blah 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 blah.
In this game, Musi's been talking about layers and late game. That is relevant directly to the game, and it's kind of the only thing in game, I guess, so far that there's been like the big storyline for.
Yeah.
Whereas Mort's point was less about is Layers, hey, Layers is 4-0-1, let's see him do late game. It's the big picture of Layers of, hey, this is a guy who, we know is a really good player, but is he going to be coming back into this matchup with with like playing on this team, all of this together? Is he going to get to perform? And the two happen to marry together incredibly well as points because one feeds into the other, which is kind of how a good storyline develops throughout the broadcast. But like this is like a good example of where Mort's point has never actually been Layers is 4-0-1. Mort's point has been, is Layers going to perform? Yes, obviously he's 4-0-1 right now. He's performing as of the moment. Whereas the other one is building up the Layers versus Sunprod. Sunprod being momentum based. Layers playing for late game, and the fact that he's ahead means that him and Moswell together are going to hit pretty hard. Single bind, if they maintain this lead, is going to be big. And so you're drawn into one. One makes you think, what we said, the big picture. The other makes you think of the last 10 minutes and the next 20.
Looking for Ramakami. Nah, he's going to play it safe. And Sunprod's back over here. Can Sunprod do much to Ramakami by himself? Sunprod decides probably not, especially with Layers on the Firebrands just next door to the solo lane, and Layers just demolish those Firebrands. Oh my god, did you see how fast they just evaporated? The damage from Layers is here. Might not be fully stacked, but at least ahead on levels and very confident with the damage. Layers is in his bag with this game.
Smite's 2's best kept secret. Aladdin is good at every stage of the game. Actually, Aurora getting jumped on by Hydrogen. Great disperse, able to get away, but the follow-up.
Not quite successful.
Unlucky.
Down to less than
that
half
was
health.
like, I was going to say, that was almost really good if y'all were different chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unlucky. That was real.
But yeah, that was an unfortunate drop into another unfortunate drop.
Yeah, that was now. And what I wonder now, and again for newer listening, now I think a big key is how are we getting out of this one, because we're in a mess right now. Mort just tier 2'd. Musi just chair 1'd. Musi has given the mic back to Mort, and it looks like there's about to be stuff going down in the mid lane. So Mort's got to kind of cleanly get himself back into his own chair now. But very easily, this could spiral even further, and things could get really awkward. What happens next? As I buffer. Play! Oh, it hates me,
Most
dude.
anticlimactic what happens next in my life,
What
bro.
happens next?
Yeah.
It's the
All right,
next
hang on.
episode. That's what happens next.
We fix this.
Yeah, we say, hey, we've been here for an hour. We'll catch you back. We'll start at 11:21 this time next week.
I'm gonna
417.
make a little tally board and just write tallies every time I have just the most awkward drop in the world to board. That's how many push-ups I have to do every day.
Like, but that's
Okay, we're back.
It's
We're
because
so
I held the
back.
mic too long to start off with.
down to less than half health. Aurora is a little bit lower
think
than
so.
he would like, but that's fine. That's all good and dandy. But there's a skirmish unfolding in his lane. Layers is dead. Layers is shut down by Sunprod. What? And the fight's not over there, though. The poison darts will kill Kaidan where he sits in the mid lane. Sunprod's around as well, looking for the combo. The Typhoon's out. A gets the knock-up, but Moswell might not be able to fight his way out of this. Look at the damage from Sunprod, and Barrow shows up to secure the kill. A big one going the way of Baron Airy. Meanwhile, fighting over the Oracles.
Swear to
Gets
God.
stunned over the wall, but no Impale to follow through. Aurora will live.
This lasted a little longer. I think you probably could have. Well, yeah, you probably could have dropped because Aurora's probably not really that. And the thing I'm gonna say is, Musi, if the first thing out of your mouth is not about the fact that Layers died, I'm gonna be so mad.
And look at the build, the Cersei's Hexstone from Baby Guff. It's interesting too. Artio has the Rune
What a
Forge
poll,
hammer.
gas him up. Why was it sick? Yeah.
That was, I think you like, not to throw any production under the bus, but like you were in a position where you were handed a really awkward drop and in left lane where nothing was really happening anymore while a fight started over in mid. And for somebody who could not see what was going on other than, yes, fight is happening, you did a really good job ramping into that fight and taking control of it.
Yeah.
I do want to see this pull, though.
Gets stunned over the wall, but no impaled of Rod and but Moswall might not be able to fight his way out of this. Look at the damage from Sun Prod, and Barrow shows up to secure the kill. A big one going the way of Baronary. Meanwhile, fighting over the Oracles, gets stunned over the wall, but no impale to follow through. Aurora will live, trying to contest the Oracles, but didn't quite go the way of Single Bind. Hydrogen Bomb, though, got a lot done. The big thing to talk about, a shutdown on layers.
Oh, I know Inbound has fist to the sky, right?
That's how I was thinking. Again, that's like 7 to 10 seconds longer than you needed to be going.
Yeah.
But it's mostly because like your brain was, oh, we're gonna fight. There's a blue health bar still over here. I'm gonna keep talking about it. And then like you even said it, but it's a roar. He's probably gonna live. And like that moment of realization of like, damn, this isn't really important anymore. And then trying to figure out, how do I drop this appropriately? And admittedly, you did set Musi up for the exact thing I want him to talk about.
To the sky. You literally said the big thing to talk about, which I feel like there's a world where there are chair twos who dislike that. I know Musi isn't one, but I feel like there are some that would say like, in this instance, it's obvious. So thank goodness in a sense, you know, but there's a world where if it's a smaller thing, just be a little careful. Again, not this point in particular. Just be careful about like ending your chair 1 by kind of over setting up your chair 2, because you can kind of put them in a weird spot a little bit where it's like, oh, okay, sure. This thing, then go next. I think in this instance it's okay because like Gore said, that kind of is the big thing, right? I mean, that's a huge shutdown onto an Aladdin who's just been like completely unanswered so far, but just play that safe. And then to Inbound's point, your calls have been really good so far, Mort. There's a few things about team fights I think we'll talk about later if we ever get later. Just get out a little bit quick. You know, that's the big thing.
It's I have and had and still have this exact problem of like not wanting to talk more, but just like your brain just doesn't tell you, hey, you did your point. You're good. Like, you know, you're fine. It's good. And like, there's a part of you that wants to
know you chair twos. I got you guys.
You almost want to make a story out of it. But the hardest thing is that's not your job anymore, right? Like the fight done, your part in that is done. Now your chair 2 gets to mold it however they want.
I think I've given you the tip that I use in my brain before, Mort, but mine is always like at the end of a fight, once you have your fight, ramp down, end, if you ever feel yourself have that end and another thing, is where it's good to cut. Because if you can feel that end another thing, you've already gone a little bit too far. Usually, there's a few exceptions, but that's the big thing. It's like you want to get out of there because odds are you're already saying things that hopefully aren't incorrect, but you're just already taking time that your chair 2 could break down whatever just went down so much better. But the fights have been really good, which is why it's so imperative to get out, because you want them to stay good, you know?
So critically important for Sun Pride. That kill actually pulls them ahead of the Aladdin. And more than just finding a way to keep the Aladdin in check, we were finally able to answer Moswall's Xbalanque. So now we have 2 late game hyperscalers that have been pushed back a little bit. This earns Hydrogen Bomb some more time to play the game, essentially. There's going to be a window of opportunity that opens up around this Moonlight Queen Naga, where Hydrogen Bomb needs to show up around that objective, clear it, but also find some kills. If you're single bind, you're also kind of playing with a little bit of trepidation around that point. If you're able to get that Moonlight Queen Naga as single bind, that is exactly what you need for characters like Aladdin and Xbalanque. 5% permanent increase on strength and int for dual scalers is so critical, so good. But if you lose that, you lose so much.
Yeah, you definitely do. There's a lot of give and take here, right? A lot of give and take. But one thing that needs to be taken is this Gold Fury. Single bind, want to find a pick before they go for the burn. Aurora hits a good paralyzing spit, but not a lot of follow-up there. Layers.
Before we get into the fight, I feel like that's a decent spot to pause, because Musi, I feel like... Oh, you guys are having this conversation in the chat as I'm bringing it. I was going to say...
Yeah, I've got the chat open on the side. I've been writing every day. Everything Bobby's been saying, I've just been like, yes.
Mort's pickup here was not the greatest, but this time I do kind of blame you, Musi, for letting go
Mhm.
because I feel like the map is getting chaotic. If you've been watching the map, you can see that, but still nothing has actually happened. It's just been getting chaotic. So this is almost like an early version of trying to hold the mic for your chair 1 at Phoenix to get them a good go point, a good launch point. You're kind of doing that here too a little bit, you know? Like we're making relevant good points, but we're trying to keep it clean here so that once this fight does break out, if I'm Mort, I've got a good ramp because his ramp there was you drop, the fight's not here yet. So he has to kind of take it easy because he can't go, there's going to be a fight here in 30 seconds. Like he can't pick it up like that. So that's why we got definitely. Definitely. Right. If that happens
also
with somebody
means...
as skilled as Mort, I feel like that's always a little bit of a hint of how you dropped too.
Mm-hmm.
He is now, no matter what, he's going to be talking too long because the option is to immediately bounce it back, but it's going to be kind of awkward because like I can already see, I think Doug's like almost about to cast this ult. So like knowing that you like a fight is going to happen, but that you got it about 10 seconds too early. So now you've had to kind of waffle for 10 seconds and you know, you talk about what you can, which is what's happening on the screen, but then the fight actually happens. So there might be some breathing stuff already because 10 seconds, but then you do the fight. No one knows how long that's going to be. So, right, like you might end up in and out real quick. It might be a good gold fury. Nothing might happen still, right? It could just be a whole bunch of posturing that falls flat. And this is one of those moments of like, if Musi just had a little longer, it would save Mort the time, effort, breath, and it honestly just make it sound better all around. And it would make it feel more complete. You'd still be able to get a point out, and you could drop then whenever like the big fight happens. So you could like even be setting up. You see that they're starting to poke each other. What's a big pick? What's the next big thing for whichever
like,
team you decide
over on this side of the map?
And so like you could start highlighting that to kind of give more context to what they're fighting over, so that then when Mort goes in, he can pick up what you just said. That's the story now. Oh, we're like Sunprod, you said he needs a kill because if he gets this kill, it's huge for Hydrogen Bomb. They can then leverage it into a Gold Fury. So look at Sunprod getting aggressive. Oh no, he got stunned. Like whatever happens, it then gives more context and more like a more what is that? More weight to the fight.
And Mort, as a tip that you could do in this instance, I think it's really funny that he's in this call with us because this is a really good time where the patented GoreMiser silence could definitely bail you out of an awkward situation. You could use a good 2 seconds here of just left side, you know, like it could be so useful in this instance because you kind of got cooked on this drop where if you let that beat hit and you're not scared to let some silence be there, you can give yourself a fresh slate that's a little less awkward. GoreMiser, that's his thing. I totally doinked it
love
too
doing it
because we did it to each other on Saturday, and internally I was like, I hope he noticed. He. But like it can totally change your outlook on a fight. Like it can give you so much room to literally look and say, okay, this is awkward, but I can see the Medusa is a little far forward. You know, like whatever you notice in that time, don't be afraid to take that beat. It'll like it's okay to let that silence sit, especially in this context. I think that's how you could get yourself out of this jam.
It's traditional sports is a really good thing. Like if you like any of it, then it's a good thing to listen to just because like there's a lot of that. There are moments if it's in a radio medium, and this is, I view casting in two different lights because there's one where you're trying to do audio only and then one where you have the visual aspect. When you have the visuals, people can see that poke's happening. I don't need to tell them. And then the combination of that with trying to reduce like ahs, like anything, any filler words, right? Anything that feels like it's filler. Like that's kind of one of the, I think, and this is just like my own personal thing, but like being able to make that and then maximize it so that what you say feels more impactful to the people who are watching, and being able to kind of leverage the fact that like, yeah, it's a game. People are watching this. Like if you're seeing this, I'm going to call out that they're grouping up over on left because there are some people who aren't watching that's going to bring their attention to the game because now they know, oh, a team fight might happen because I said they're grouping left. but then I'm going to let it ride for a little bit because that, like you said, gives you a moment to kind of catch, see whatever's going to happen, and opens up the opportunity for the players to play the game.
Already
These
dumped
are
their
players in the
combo
game.
and paralyzing spit, but not a lot of follow up there. Layers already dumped their combo, and oh no, almost impaled into the pillar. Gonna petrify to follow through, so Dona Doug CC immune, and then lacerates immediately towards Bayro, almost kills Baronary where they stand in the jungle. The damage was a little bit scattered between targets, but still, that's a huge way to back off Hydrogen Bomb. Let's go straight for gold right after. Hydrogen Bomb are very scared, low on health, but do have ults to work with. Typhoon's ready to maybe steal, but they drop it to make sure that Typhoon doesn't take it. Then they pick it right back up and get the Gold Fury. A very nice play by Single Bind as a team to communicate that, and they get an objective out of it.
Donut Dog being able to play so aggressively in that duel lane, that Petrifying Gaze found a lot of damage, TKOing not only the Susanoo, but the E-set as well. Means that Single Bind can look for some more objectives. Aurora's taking a lot of damage here. Xbalanque ult will be enough to kind of pseudo-peel for them, but more than that, it sets up Layers for a gank.
That's
Great
huge,
job.
but look at Layers dashing in. Oh my goodness, Aurora's on the chase. The Stygian Torment's off the mark. It did pull one though, and as soon as they land back down, Barrow's taken into the lamp, and Layers will chase them down. Aurora shows up for a couple bites, at least a nibble onto Baronary, right? But Layers is going to be the one who's really outputting damage, running down Barrow. The Ghastly Breath will slow them down, and Layers has some massive genie hands right into the skull of Baronary. Another kill for Single Bind and Gold Fury right before that too. Single Bind are finding a pretty good up and up this game at the 15-minute mark, but now that we've got objectives to look at, Queen Naga, Pyromancer, and League double spawn in just a minute, now it's time to further that lead even more so.
The only comment I have about anything that went down personally is Musi's drop was excellent. Mort, your pickup could have been... It's not that the pickup was like badly timed or anything like that. That's one of those instances where, at least for me, I'm looking at the map and I'm also seeing layers coming. You should really have a point ready to go. Not a point, but you should have a phrase or a something ready to go. Like when you pick that up, it shouldn't be any kind of build up. It should be right to the point. In that instance, you know, dash in, knock up from Aladdin. Whatever it might be, right? You got, because you had some build up, because Musi was giving you a pretty decent drop, you've got to also be ready. You have to be ready to do your job in your turn, just as Musi is actively doing his. Because you did that really good earlier too, for the record, which is why I'm pointing it out there. Just because it was such a good drop, I want you to take advantage of it to give yourself a big pump up moment. Because there's a world that fight is so clean and so perfect just because of how you got in. And then, you know, again, not going to drown it out, but same point at the end, just cut it off a little bit sooner.
Gotta make sure we keep some vision over there by that FG pit for both teams, because you don't want to give this up. Not only do you get 5% strength and int permanently increased to your stats for the winning team, you can also pick up the Moon Strike Ritual. Really solid one-time consumable that basically mimics the effect of a Calamitous Rod of Tahuti from Smite 1. You hit something with a damaging ability, it spawns a rock. Speaking of rocks, Snatty, between one and a hard place.
Ooh!
Paralyzing Spit, stun Snatty for a moment.
That was really good.
That was so good. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. While the Queen Naga gets burned, Layers is on top of it. It's down to 3k, but they drop it for a moment. Baronary is there and throws a stun onto Aurora, who's hanging out in the front, zoning for a moment. Aurora's still there, waiting for reinforcements. Remikami's there as well, but they're going straight for Remikami. The River Styx throws out a bit of damage onto Aurora. Still fighting by the Queen Naga. Seems like Sunprod's in a bit of trouble. Forced to dash out of there.
Oh, come on.
Baby Gup is in trouble too. Remikami zoning while the rest of Single Bind are burning this objective, but it's stolen. It's stolen by Snatty's one. A crazy pull there. Huge ups for Hydrogen Bomb, but the fight's not over. Donut Doug looking for a piece on a Bayro, but couldn't quite find it. That's okay.
I'm gonna pause here just in case. Oh, looks like you
So,
Seeing that steal twice,
Nice,
by the
perfect
way,
drop, by the
I'm
way.
still. Ugh.
your drop was incredible. except for the fact that it's Yorm and he just ulted and got out. Like, it was really good. It gives more some time to kind of work with the fight. The only thing I would note, and I guess it's really just kind of a small thing, but like when a fight like that's going on, especially when it's kind of like small engage that could become big engage, don't be afraid to like look away from them. I guess buy yourself time with like little phrases like, oh, Aurora gets this stun, and while you're mentioning it, if you can, out of the corner of your eye, whichever one feels more comfortable, but like glance for ults, glance for relics, because like those are really important cooldowns when looking at a fight. Where like while you were talking about it, I'm looking over like, does Aurora have an ult? Like, could this become something bigger? He has ult, yes, but he doesn't have blink. So like those two things being true changes the way that Aurora's engagement in this, and his interaction with them becomes, and how it relates to your story of this fight. And so being able to like see those, it wasn't really that big a deal because he was just kind of falling back and they were fighting over neutral camps. But then you held on to it. I think you did well. It's just those little things are also really helpful. Like just knowing who could be grabbed. Yes, there's 3 beads on the other side. Is that going to be a big deal? Is Aurora even going to go for an ult? Like trying to figure out, will this become a much bigger thing?
Yeah, I agree.
Like a camel or an alpaca, Snatty, a sniper spit, finds the Moonlight
Sometimes
Queen.
Musi just says things, I swear to God.
You can't even.
Okay, I like bringing this point up. Inbound says, also, I'm a freak for items. You haven't mentioned builds at all, unless I missed something. I think there was a mention of something. I don't remember what it was.
Erosion earlier.
Yes, there was the erosion point, but that was pretty much it. Doesn't matter that much, but it's free talking points. Just wanted to put that as a note for content-wise.
Settle for a pyromancer. Actually, they have to back off. And you know what I said? That's pivotal. Hydrogen bomb needs that 5% strength in it just as much as single bind. Luckily for single bind, they were able to get the consumable, the Moonstrike ritual in the hands of Mazwa. I think would have liked it for this pyromancer, but it looks like
the Remikami is getting ran down after the pyro gets taken by hydrogen.
It looks like
the hydrogen bomb collapsing onto Remikami. Another push. No way to get over the wall. Will fall apart.
It happens. It literally happened to Gore and I like 5 times on Saturday, where I dropped kind of like that, but it was just because VMix moment. It just came across a little more awkward than intended. So this just happens.
I also think, and again, this is gonna change.
Sucks.
On every single person and who you cast with. And admittedly, in the moment, Remikami dying there was almost so much of a given that I kind of wish you would have just said, yeah, Remikami's probably dead here, and kept going. Because like he's just so out of position, so alone, there's not a soul to help him, that if they turn on him, he's dead. And so you can just kind of like, it's weird to say take the kill for granted, but that feels like one where you could probably just take it for granted and hold on to it a little longer instead of dropping it from Mort to commentate Remikami getting absolutely demolished for 3 seconds, and then now there's no fight afterward, right? So there's not really much for you to go into as a tier 1 other than to then maybe ask a question and try to force Mort to talk about something or force Musi to talk about something.
I feel like that was something that happened a lot when I was casting with Trelly, where there would be times where moments like this, Trelly would talk right over a kill. I would see the kill, and I'd be like, yeah, I trust you. Let's wait. Then if I needed to get in, he'd get me in time anyway, so it didn't matter. But if it was an inconsequential kill, sometimes you don't got to read the kill feed type beat, I would just trust it.
How do you... I guess I know the answer to my own question.
Well, yeah,
No,
like,
ask
so...
it. I was going to say, you can ask it. Doesn't no harm in it.
It's kind of knowing, like, how do you know what an inconsequential kill is in a PvP game?
The biggest thing for that one, and the reason like that one is okay to ignore, and this is why the reason the question's hard to answer or give a direct answer to is because it is very much dependent on the moment.
Yeah,
but like they had already stolen the neutral objective. Mm-hmm. Four members of Single Bind are pretty much out of there already, and they just got Pyromancer. Like Remikami wasn't in a position of contesting Pyro. Remikami was kind of nearby the team after they did Pyro. You know what I mean? So like, if it had been Remikami could steal, that's a good moment for Mort to potentially take it. But because of his positioning, he wasn't really in a spot to make a play that made a difference. And the only, like, this feels a little mean to say, the only thing Rimakami can do in the position Rimakami was in is die. There's not really anything else that's going to happen for him. And so when you know, like, if you can kind of gauge that in the moment, and a lot of it's just going to be, you know, quick processing, like mini map. Hey, quick glance. I see Shibalanke is kind of nearby, but like Rimakami's already dead. Like being able to just go, and Rimakami's dead. And you know what? With this Pyromancer, now that death and the fact that they got their steal, this means that this is what this team is capable of. This is what their lead means. This is what their kill. Like being able to kind of weave that into your point, so it still gets mentioned. And it's mostly just, does it look like it's going to? Does that kill become something bigger? And does that kill change the state of what's happening on screen enough that you think something bigger is going to happen? Like if the answer to either of those is no, you can probably just ignore it.
In
Gotcha.
the FG
Sorry,
pit,
scribbling.
so Hydrogen Bomb can pick up a kill. They got an objective.
Chair 2 is really hard to do.
Look a little more
by
back
the
and forth.
way,
At this time last game,
Casting is
Hydrogen Bomb
hard.
had a lead by a couple
Casting's
thousand
real
gold
hard.
and a couple
TS is
kills
not
as well.
easy.
Now Single Bind's got a kill lead here at the 18-minute mark, and they're barely down on gold too. So this is an interesting spot to be in.
Honestly, like kill numbers can be kind of a bait. You see that Single Bind is up in kills, and you're like, man, they're owning this game. Don't get me wrong, they kind of are. But a Hydrogen Bomb, the fact that they're ahead in gold shows that they're able to show up at pivotal moments. They know when to put their foot down and when to sit and defend objectives and really commit to fights. The gold is what enables you to keep ahead on items. The gold is what enables you to keep yourself committed to fights. Oh my god, speaking of fights.
Doug's in trouble. Petrify used for some crowd control immunity, and Aegis as well. A lot of really taken from Doug, but at least he's alive, right?
It works out because look at the mini
Aurora
map.
looking to collapse on this duo lane. There's still a tier 1 tower for them to hide under, but a Blink Stygian Torment takes Bayro into the air and killed as soon as they land. The Viper shot's poison will destroy Baron Ares' health bar. So Hydrogen Bomb have lost one member. Single Bind are gunning for the tier 1 tower on the left side, while the rest of Single Bind are marching up mid. They're going to take this mid lane tower too.
Prod comes in, loops around the back side of the mid lane, looking to see if they can connect
is a
on
little
top of
old school
Moswell, but it's
drop.
just not going to be there.
Respect
Rimakami's
this.
in a bad spot, Mort.
Nice.
Maybe not.
Hey.
Maybe he's in a good spot to set up for Aurora to walk
Help
forward
me.
and hit
Here,
the
I've
spit,
helped you.
but
Have
barely
it back.
off the
Thanks.
mark. The tier 2 tower is getting chipped away at by Single Bind, and they're going to grab that one too, thanks to the help of the pusher. That tier 1 tower in the mid lane still stands, but that's a wide open bird on the left side.
This point keeps coming up from, I mean, I've noticed it. I think Gorge
Yeah,
has.
go
I know we
deeper.
talked about it. Inbound said it. And okay, let me clarify that one thing before I say this. Musi, you have more than earned the right, and you more than have the knowledge and talent to give feedback to casters who are just starting out. But this point in particular, you've given recently to newer casters. I think it definitely applies to you because there's extra levels to it. Keep going deeper. Keep going deeper. Like that's clip that. That's why Inbound said it. You know, like
Don't stop. Deeper.
Yeah, don't stop.
Let's go.
But it's so relevant. Like there's so many times where I think if you were listening to somebody else say the same things, you would probably say, I want to know more about that point. That was almost so great. Please add on to it. I think there's been a lot of those for you.
The start of the prior segment before the actually really good back and forth during the fight, there you started it saying like kill count can be a little bit of a debate. Not to say that Single Bind isn't fragging, because they kind of are. And then you went on to kind of explain why they weren't. And so I wouldn't have minded like a moment, like even just like two sentences of why, even though, you know, they're up in kills and like you're about to talk about how the gold is on the other side, why is it still okay? You know, like why is it that they are doing well? And like, cause I look down, I see Layers is popping off and the rest of the team kind of hadn't been doing too much. Like where, you know, like where is, I guess again, like a little bit of the why, like not just to justify yourself, but like to explain it a little more. It also buys you a couple free seconds, and then you can weave that into. But despite the fact that they're doing really well here, the gold is over in Hydrogen Bomb, and then boom, boom, boom. There's all the points that you also made, and just having like a little. I mean, literally what they just said, right? Just being able to cut into it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I know we said it, but just to make it really clear, that back and forth drop, the trust, the timing, everything was
Very
so good. You kind of can't teach that on remote, and that's something I was told directly. So the fact that you two can do it is so freaking good. Like I was very lucky during Founders because I got brought onto a team where everybody already knew how to do that kind of thing, and like I could do it because I already knew they could, to give myself moments, to give myself breaths, to even just help the flow of a fight or whatever it may be. You guys have to like learn that and practice that together while also being remote only. So clean. I cannot say that enough about being able to do that, because it is so difficult to do that correctly and to do that while respecting each other's times. Well, you did.
Shut up, Mort.
So I say, Mort, you did it too, because ultimately you made the decision to trust Musi for that sentence to hold, and you picked a good spot to do it, because you can, even though it's good to trust and sometimes you have to do it, it is still possible to make a bad decision and do it at a time where it does not work, and you should not have done it in that moment. So both of you did great there.
I just mean, like, shout out Muse, because if I'm, no offense to anybody there, but if I'm in Babylon Smite League, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm with the Prime team. Like, I trust them. I trust Muse because I cast with Muse more than anybody else in my entire life. Like, I trust Muse.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So.
That's kitten right there.
All right.
It's a private. I forgot we're tit for tat so far. I think Hydrogen
He was like, oh, wow, this is live on the internet forever.
Like I said before, knowing when to put their foot down around certain objectives. But even in that same breath, single bind, when they find a kill, they know where to force it on the map. Uh-oh, ESET. Taking a lot of damage here, but Snatty?
Okay. Snatty seems to be fine. A lot of high health bars
Damn
still.
it.
Good exchange here and there.
The problem is, once it gets pointed out to you so often, you notice it more.
And
And
a little bit about how strong
Another
this X-Ball
push-up.
mid lane pick is, and some interesting items being picked up. I guess the poison darts apply to the death really well, but the nimble ring coming through, I feel like I never see that item.
Well,
that's
the
a
more
great,
ink that you have,
great question without being a question, right? Just saying, oh wow, I'm gonna say a thing like I don't see this too often, and giving Musi the opportunity to, one, finally talk about some damn items, but two, to be able to then start, like you took a drop that looked like maybe could be a fight, but then ended up being just absolutely fizzles of nothing, and you turned it into something very interesting, and like you keep it engaging and keep things moving forward.
I think a lot, like a good note for like newer chair 1s in particular is to just give the point of what Gore is saying too, is like Mort said the thing about Nimble Ring, but it's really easy to say, I don't see Nimble Ring too often a whole lot. Is it because of the attack speed, or is it because of this? And maybe it flows really well, just like going on and then explaining it a little bit yourself and then dropping, because now Musi's just kind of like, oh, well, I mean, do you want to know or not?
You already said the thing.
Yeah, you already said it. The analogy I was given, which I still think of to this day to stop myself from doing this, is, there's bringing a horse to water, there's making the horse drink, but there's drowning the horse in the river. And I did that a lot for a very long time, and that was one of my hurdles I had to get over to get myself further. And that's kind of my thought process, is like, even if you know it, I don't care if you know it better than Musi, which, I know you don't, but just for the point of it, I don't care if you know it better. Don't say it. What you did is perfect. See? Used to. Thank you. Used to.
Smile. The smile is crazy.
my secret to success has been unlearning the game so hard that I literally can't help but ask genuine questions.
The Jorby effect.
If you go to
the new child, what is happening?
If you listen to my first cast during Founders and even during like the open, like the alpha weekend tournaments, and then you listen to anything like late, like getting closer to Vegas and then during Vegas, you literally hear I used to do it so bad, like probably one of the worst examples you could find, to doing it to the point of shutting up mid-sentence if I caught myself doing it. Like, it gets a little ridiculous just how much I would take my own tongue out if I started to over-explain it. And now it's to the point where, like, I'll say 2 words. I'll be like, oh, Nimble Ring. And, like, let you figure it out. So you don't even have to talk about it. It was
These
so
are items
bad.
in
So
a build.
believe me, it's coming from a place of having done it.
Yet, for a character like Xbalanque, you are still kind of a hunter at heart. but
yeah, true.
You're going to be speccing really hard into int in order to get your ability scaling. So this just kind of gives you the ability to deal sustained DPS to objectives and still feel like you can box out other characters. And as long as we're looking at builds, the Aladdin build is very interesting to me. Instead of a Heartseeker, it looks like Layers has opted for a Jotun's
We're all
Revenge.
in builds now.
And I do like that
chills.
because Aladdin's cooldowns are really long, honestly. Like, very powerful abilities, but because of that, the cooldowns on them take, like, 2 to 3 business years before they come back up. So what the Jotun's Revenge is able to do here is when you get a kill, take a couple of seconds off your abilities, this gets Layers back into the fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Sun Prod, no penetration just yet, but the combat blink should keep this Susanoo fairly mobile as Single Bind picks up their second Gold Fury.
A huge knockup from Aurora, immune by a few, and Kydon cleans up the dog where they are.
So, back to what we were saying earlier.
Quick, while you do this point, I'm going to turn my camera off and use the potty. I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah. This one is a really good drop. Because even though, like before, it's just a guy who's singled out and dead, so much more can happen right after this, right? Like, suddenly, like, that one, like, the big difference of, well, they already did the stuff, then killed Remikami earlier, whereas this one's like, oh, Aurora just got picked, Fire Giant, Pyromancer, like, they can suddenly start forcing objectives. And so, like, that's the big feel difference, the vibe difference of, this is a genuinely important pick because it changes the next steps of the game. And so being able to drop that, making sure that Moore gets in there to get the kill for Aurora, and now is going to be holding it because the team, Single Bind now has the option. Step up and defend, fall back. Whichever one they choose as a chair 1, you get a really good story emphasis. Man, Aurora goes down, the team still steps up to try to defend. Then they, fight happens. You get to do that. Or, man, Aurora goes down and you can see Single Bind kind of in a position to fight, but without their support, they just don't get to do anything. And suddenly you get, like, no matter what, you get a good little story beat of what Aurora dying means to this game. And then you lead it into Pyromancer, talk about the gold. Hey, we're in 20 minutes. Like, Fire Giant is entirely possible. Being able to kind of hit all of the I'm going to call them generic chair 1 beats, but hitting all of the generic chair 1 beats, you have, like, an opportunity to kind of restate and reassess what the game is, where it is, how the stakes are different now, and then potentially set it up for Musi to come back in and talk about the team fight. What is it going to look like with 4 people? And again, this all depends on what the next minute and a half looks like. But, like, being able to get the opinion on what things are going to unfold and allow Musi to kind of set the stage for you to come in and just start knocking down bowling pins left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's a sentence where I'm just buying time for Malum to come back.
One of the things that we are able to do as we wait for Anthony to get back here is Anthony. Oh, great timing.
Are in the jungle. Pyromancer will get picked up by Hydrogen Bomb. Single Bind have eyes on it, but I don't think they have a lot of steal potential, especially considering Layers is getting ran down under the tier 2 tower. Moswall is there to clean up, though. Remikami all alone with the rest of the team. Hydrogen Bomb are going for this Pyro, knowing that the only one there is Remikami. Moswall is busy trying to peel what's left of Layers off the floor. There's nobody there to really contest, so Hydrogen Bomb get a big objective, their second Runic Bomb, and Fire Giant could be eyed relatively soon. We're getting to that point in the game here, Muse.
We do have the damage ready for it. Sunprod's going to have that penetration online as well. Totem of Death for Kydon. That's Charon mid, which, traditionally hasn't really had any success anytime that we've seen it
talk about
on
the fight.
or off screen. Seems to be finding its niche in this team comp. I will say.
I'd also say, and because more, you say this point in the game, this is another point where I'm going to pull from football commentary, because when you're doing like chair 1 for football, one of the big things, every play, you want to mention the down, you want to mention how many yards they have.
Yep.
And if you want to mention the time, right? Like, hey, where are we in the game? That's usually like a first down thing, like picking it up, 10 minutes left in the first tier. 10 yards to go at the whatever team's 30. And then you get to kind of that setup. It's hard to translate it directly into Smite, but like whenever you have these moments of this point in the game, if you haven't done it recently, it's kind of good to talk about like at this point in the game, or as we transition into, you know, more late game territory, or here 22 minutes in, right? Just like kind of reframing it just to be a little more specific. And it's only because then it's just a good framing device, right? For storytelling purposes, it just sounds pretty. It does the same thing, but kind of puts a bow on it.
I get it.
Mort loves putting a bow on it, wrapping it up, put a little bow. Say this about the Chiron Man, or the Chiron.
I thought
Man,
that was going in a completely different direction when you said wrapping it up.
When you are able to build damage, it's like a truck. Yeah, you never know with Mort. It does not only a lot of damage, but the CC that comes with it, that fear is really effective into characters that maybe aren't quite prepared for it. If you don't have CC immunity, it is very tough to go into. Looks like the blink came in from Aurora.
Really wanted to get that fight started. I think that's the definition of forcing something, right? You got to be careful what you force. Because Aurora just dumped a lot of resource in just to get melted down to a quarter health and then force away from there. Look at the pull from Sunprod. A huge pull from Sunprod sets that fight up for Hydrogen.
We're a hair late on our
Layers
energy.
is going to be able to lamp one. Sunprod and Baronary in the lamp, looking to shut down Layers. That's exactly what's going to happen. A double kill for Sunprod. Remikami getting chased down all alone with the team. Remikami doesn't have any reinforcements. Half of them are dead, and the others are scared. Donut Doug and Mosball with no front line whatsoever, forced to go back to base and let that tier 1 tower fall. And you know what that means for Hydrogen Bomb? It's time to melt the Fire Giant. But Immortality Wish used by Layers. They're coming back to the fight to contest this FG.
No ultimate available for Donut Doug.
Gonna throw it out. When you that entire, like, you did a great job framing it, but because you talked so long, now that Doug and Layers are actually here at the Fire Giant and like you could be building suspense, you had to drop. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those awkward moments of if you get out a little faster, Musi might have, like, that's where Musi comes in, breaks down the fight, and then drops just as Doug and Layers get around here, so you can be like, Doug, Layers, they want to fight this one. They're here for the steal. Like, being able to start building the tension up of what is this Fire Giant going to be? Baron area is incredibly low and easy to kill. And so, like, having those moments so that instead of Musi talking right here, you could be building up to the fight that is almost certainly going to happen, because one of these two players is going to go in and die. Or maybe they're going to pop off and get some kills, but like something is going to happen.
I think you also could have, and this note has to really just do with the fact you were sick. It sounded like you also could have used just almost a hard drop to Musi for a second to give yourself a moment too, which wouldn't have been bad in this case, especially because it sounds like your throat was hurting, so you don't want to force yourself through pain. Judas asked an interesting question. I feel like I've answered this before, so all you, Gore, but Judas said, I'm basically listening to this radio mode. Is it reasonable to ask for more mention of gods or abilities rather than just player names at this stage?
So that was actually something, it was a really big deal. When I first got hired at Hi-Rez, one of the things that Hindu pulled me aside to say was to remember that almost, I'd say 80% plus of the people who are actively watching, or I should quote unquote actively watching, you're on the second monitor. You're not the primary thing. They're not, like, we're clued into this game, and when you're casting it, you're so clued into it. But most people who are tuning in, they have it on the side monitor. They're playing a game. They're watching a YouTube video and maybe have like crazy ADHD TikTok vibes going where they have multiple audio sources in their ears. It's not where their focus is at. And so not only is it good to mention, you know, abilities by name or gods by name, but I also think it's very important to, like, that's where the chair 1 use of voice becomes a really big deal. When we're just talking, and, you know, we're talking like, hey, let's chat about the items. Wow, a Transcendence, that's pretty crazy. He's got 50 stacks. And oh my God, they're going for the fight. And like, that's the moment everybody's eyes go to their side monitor, right? They hear that energy. That's why, like, that's such an important thing from like a chair 1. Being able to even, like, sometimes just force it, even if you're not really that excited, but like being able to make the exciting moments exciting makes it so that anybody who's not paying attention is now paying attention. Whether it was background audio, side stream, whatever they are doing, they're now clued in on the game, and you're going to have them until the fight's over. And then whether or not they stay kind of depends on how the Chair 2 handles that energy and what they go into, right? But being able to pull the attention, be specific for the people who aren't actively watching. Like, half of the game is visual. It's almost the opposite of what I said earlier, because like there's a point where you have a visual medium, use it. But also there's a lot of people who aren't watching, so use that to your advantage, right? And that's where like again, I'll go to football where it's like setting up on the far hash, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm giving you a layout of where they are on the field. So you know from the perspective we're looking at it. In hockey, takes that one behind the red line, behind the goal, plays that one around the net.
So ridiculous. They're like, there's 3 clouds in the sky. The sun is coming in from this latitude and longitude. Like, baseball is the most ridiculous example.
You don't need to do the most hardcore radio thing you've ever heard as if it's like complete blind visuals, because that would be very hard. But like bringing that in and more, this one, because it's answering a question, I want to make sure this is not a point against anything that you've done, because you've done very well at making sure to set the stage. But that's kind of like where a lot of that energy is, like casting wise. I think being able to bring in the radio portion and recognizing that right now you need to set the stage. Donut Doug on the Medusa, coming around the left side of the fire giant pit. Layers on the side with him, trying to jump in, see if they can defend this. It gives people a good little mental image. It also tells them where to look if they're already watching, because it says this is where the ball is. Look at the ball. Follow the ball. I'm telling you actively where the ball is.
We've made it, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Jithens is making content out of this. The ball. You'll hear us refer to the ball all the time. Not a literal ball in the field, but in MOBAs, it's really hard to find a ball, because in sports, you follow the ball. Where was the ball hit? Where was the ball thrown? Where was the ball kicked? But in MOBAs, you got to find the ball, and that is, I mean, both casters have to do it, but that is like the most important thing, is finding a ball in a fight and being able to talk about the ball and the things around the ball so that we can follow the fight in a cohesive and coherent manner. That is like a key foundation of making things work in a way that's easy. And yes, Musi sets the ball a lot for Mort to follow around, and Musi can help. And Chair 2s have this really cool bonus passive effect where they can yell an ad-lib or a pop-off, however you want to call it, and they can help kind of redirect the Chair 1 if they're all the way off the ball, where it's like, hey, I can kind of hear that things are getting chaotic. Look at this Mordred coming around the side. And now all of a sudden the Chair 1 is locked back in. And they're like, Mordred, ultimate!
It is, and actually it's probably one of the best tools during team fights. Dave had this call. Here's an anecdote, and then we hit play.
Here we go to full camps for this. Jithen's content.
He had a call. So you know what? For Jithen's content's sake, this is going to be a clean cut for you, bud. So Dave had a call that he desperately wanted to do, and he had been talking about it literally for years. He wanted Panda Cat to get a quadra kill because he wanted to call Panda. He's got quads in Atlanta. And he had literally, I think I first heard him mention that. I mean, now it would probably be 4 years ago. I don't remember when the song dropped, but realistically, when it was like getting big and that was on everyone's mind, he mentioning it then. I don't think he got to do that until Season 9, Season 10. And when it happened, they are marching in the Titan room. Panda Cat has a triple kill, and this big lug of a dude is turning away from the monitor to look at me, and I'm just sitting there pointing at the screen. And like, you're not physically there, right? You have to do a pop-up. Anything like that, being like, oh, and Panda, and that gets him to shut the hell up, stop looking at me, and immediately, it dropped a decade ago. Okay, well then he mentioned it at least 5 years ago, but he's been talking. Look, time's an illusion. All right, man, let's calm down. He turns, and anything to get him to turn back to the damn screen and cast that quadra kill he had been waiting for, and he got to do it. And that's the point of the story, is you can make him do the thing from Chair 2. You just have to do it. You have to give the energy. And it's a very good talent and thing to have. And it can change and make those memorable moments even if you're not the one who gets remembered for the moment.
So we both have each other on a leash is kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah. Panda chopped a decade ago. That's insane, bro. I'm so old.
Oh, and then we get
2016.
buffer maxing. 1 second.
That was 20. I mean, he had to have mentioned it in 2020.
Comes the
Oh no. But yeah, I don't think he got to do it until like 24 or 25. Like it legitimately, he had been talking about it for years. He needed a game where he was casting Panda Cat and he got a quadra kill.
For Hydrogen
And
Bomb,
we all swore that we weren't
time
going to take it
melt
from him.
The Fire Giant, but Immortality Wish used by Layers are coming back to the fight to contest this FG.
no ultimate
task bar.
available for Donut Dog. They wait in the bush, but they know that their Layers, like you said, Immortality Wish. Just trying to keep Hydrogen Bomb away and off the Fire Giant. Layers going in, but stunned out immediately.
No way. Donut Doug pieced up, taken apart. 2 dead still for single bind. Rimikami's about to spawn, but check out Layers lurking in the back, looking for a pick. Lands on a Sun Prod, dashes right through him, and shuts him down. Layers got his lick back. A huge play by single bind, and Aurora takes down Kaidon too. What is going on? And Hydrogen is extremely low. Aurora's not giving up on the chase. A double kill for Layer as he found the flank, and the poison darts will take down Baronary. Hydrogen Bomb just lost their opportunity for the FG, all because of the Immortality Wish. Layers yet again, while he might have died during the process, he just made a huge play happen for single bind.
I feel like
you've done a really good job.
Yeah, go ahead.
You've done a really good job not sounding like you were sick this day. You weren't sounding congested. I could hear it there, and I feel so bad for your throat. Like
Yeah,
I'm like,
tough.
I'm like, I can hear the fact that you're gonna struggle talking the next day.
Yeah.
I still am.
Inbound comment.
That's not even a comment on anything you can fix. That's just the thing.
Going into Fire, which Musi held like probably a sentence too long, honestly. Just because like the easiest tell of that is that Mort got the mic after the first kill, and even though he doesn't necessarily want to just say the first kill, that's kind of like, you know, that's his first stepping stone of what is going to be a maybe not a game-ending fight. Obviously, it depends, but like a game-shifting fight, a tone-setting fight for the game. It's tough to do it on this fight, Mort. I've been wanting to talk about something with your play calling because I hear you cast a lot, so I need you to know it's not necessarily about this fight, because like Gore said, you can hear that your voice is just in hell right now. You're still doing great, all things considered. Like, nobody should sound as good while they're sick. But something with your play calling, I think like the biggest note that I could give, like as an overarching note for you, is putting a little more variance to your actual tone while you're calling fights and making it them feel a little different. The reason I bring it up on this fight is you kind of did it because you were sick, because you're kind of fighting with your voice and trying not to cough and trying to get air out. It made you have some different variations and some different tones. A bit of yelling, we're back down. Oh, we did the thing, you know, as opposed to just your normal fights that have that little more like guy goes in, does the damage, gets the jump, comes across, does the thing, gets the kill, goes away. Which that's good, but if you do it every fight, it becomes a little bit too consistent. And one other thing that relates to that, Mort, is your personality is fantastic. I would really, really like to have more of your personality in your casting. And if you were to combine those two things, if you were to put the mythical wombo combo, if you were to have your personality built into team fights that had a lot of variance throughout a game, I think you would be so undeniably amazing at Chair 1. Because it would have, you know, we've talked a lot about Dave. It would have a little bit of that, where it's like there's so much personality coming through, but also this guy's a hell of a caster with a great voice. I think you can absolutely do that. You just got to work a little bit more on. And when I say variance, I mean it very literal. Just like, instead of doing this thing for the whole fight and nothing but this for the fight, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, he did the thing, he did the thing, he did the thing. Oh my God, that was unbelievable. Like, you know, a little over-exaggerated, but I think you get the idea. Or what do you think on that, Gore?
No, I think like that is, again, the tone of your voice is one of the biggest tools you have. Saying the action good is one thing, but being able to say it in a way that still sounds interesting is the hard part. Because if they heard you do it at 5 minutes it still needs to sound different at 25 minutes, and it still needs to sound interesting at 25 minutes. And like that's where like what peaks and valleys come from, right? It's a roller coaster of emotion. Like kill happens, that's an exciting moment. Okay, they're starting to fall back, we fall back with them, and now they're going back in, like doing the ramp up, so you know, like these are the moments that are really important. These are the moments that are driving the action. These are the moments that
level,
like
you know,
are really pushing it. Yeah, like you don't want to be at a 5 or a 9. You want to have some 5s, some 7s, some 6s, some 10s, some 8s. Every now and then, depending on if it happens, you want to be able to push, like, whatever your 10 is should not actually be your, like, full 10. Your 10 should be, this is the, general hype. Oh, and they go in, they get the dance side, and they get the win! And there should be a level that you can push beyond that for your pentakills, your, like, hey, this is, like, the biggest finals I've ever cast. Like, anything where, like, the way I would leave is like where you're leaving it all on the floor. Like I'm not talking again for the rest of the day because I'm going to shatter my throat right now on this call. And sometimes you don't want to do that 2 minutes into a game or 10 minutes into a game, but like being able to have that level, it just creates such a dynamic in the. I've been messing a lot with music all my life, so like I think of waveforms, but like when the peaks are big, you know something big happened, and when the peaks are small, you know that you can kind of cut through it. It's good when you're editing audio. Shout out to whoever's editing this, but then realistically, like it's weird to think about it, but that is kind of how to view your cast. Is like the big moments should be the big blocks in the audio, and then you should be able to discern when those big moments are happening. And when the big moments in a fight are happening, based on how the waveform would look.
It's funny. Gore mentions the like.
If I had a whiteboard, it'd be so
literally
crazy.
Happened to me. I did that at Vegas. I had in the last game because I knew. Thank you. Yes, go Knicks. When I had my last game for the weekend, and I knew it was my last game, I was like, okay, there's a chance we go to 5. But like, I'm not afraid to go nuts at the end of this 4. I'll have a short break. I can recover. But like, I'm not afraid to go nuts here because I know this is the end of this for me for this weekend, and like, I want to go out of control. And I ended up doing that, and I kind of did actually. I didn't hurt my voice, but I definitely like ran out of air and pushed a little bit extra out. And when I said team risk gets TKO'd, I was like, that was it. So even for the end of that game, you could kind of hear me like really fighting with my air, and I actually kind of made a pretty big blunder, and aggro saved my life at the very last moment of the game. And then that was it. But like Gore said, I was just comfortable, like, all right, I'm done for the weekend. This is my chance, especially once it looked like the game was over. Let's just leave it all out there. That's where you find those variances, because that game started with us joking about aspects and Agni, if I'm not mistaken. Like, so it really just depends. But again, variance was the key I wanted to bring up here for you, Mort, because I think when I say hurdle, that makes it sound like there's something stopping you from getting better, and you're very, very good. You're so talented, but that is a hurdle for you. It's just getting that tone variance and mixing it up a little bit and letting some of your personality through, dropping that Mr. Shoutcaster persona that I talk about a lot and letting Morty be the caster. I mean, you hear it with Gore. Gore is like one of the best examples. Gore, you know Gore's casting because, oh my god, does it sound like GoreMiser? It's the, oh my god, they're doing the thing! Everyone who says Gore and I sound alike just literally had their moment where they're like, see, I told you. But those are the big things, I think.
Really good stuff for Single Bind there, stopping Hydrogen Bomb from getting that FG and then taking 4 off the map. Snatty alone, the big snake, had such a massive knockup in the fight before that went straight into Sunprod's ultimate. That's what enabled Hydrogen Bomb to even take a look at that Fire Giant. Really good play there between the solo laner and the jungler of Hydrogen Bomb. You know that the synergy is there, alive and well. Now that Single Bind have kind of effectively wiped Hydrogen Bomb away from the map for a bit, we can settle for a Pyromancer to help get some extra gold in the pocket. Woo! And almost stolen away by Snatty, but ultimately confirmed by Donut Doug. Now we just gotta chillax, get our items on, get some wards out there in the FG pit, man. It's getting stressful. I mean, keep in mind, Hydrogen Bomb have won game 1. Single Bind needs to win this game in order to walk away Well, Single Mind need to win this game in order to get to game 3. Hydrogen Bomb want to win this game in order to walk away the winners. There's a lot for Hydrogen Bomb to prove here, and even more for Single Bind to prove here, right? Because remember, last week, Single Bind wins Smite Prime. But was that a fluke, or is this something that they can do again? Is this a replicatable event? Or is Sunprod just going to run with a new ADC, a new team? I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to try something new and win with that team anyways. It feels like
another good example of setting
there's
up the
a lot
story.
of ego on both sides of the field here that is coming through. Neither team is ready to give up this win.
And the beacon is being looked at by Hydrogen Bomb. They want to send the pushers down the mid lane, or any lane, really, all lanes, to make sure that they can grab their next objective a little bit easier, knowing that Single Bind have pressure on their towers that they have to be on the lookout for. FG's getting burned. Hydrogen Bomb rotate over and take it immediately. Single Bind are there to show, hey, this isn't going to be a free FG, so Hydrogen Bomb drop it immediately after. I'll tell you what, though, they got a lot of damage dealt onto that thing in a pretty quick amount of time. They also still have 2 runic bombs to work with. Hydrogen Bomb has a pretty good amount of spunk.
I mean, they've got the Avenging Blade in the hands of Hydrogen and on her, base on her, not the aspect on her. Still has the Prot Shred handy in kit, Totem of Death for Kaidan, so the shred potential is there. Love this from Single Bind, though. The Single Bind objective shred is just inherently stronger than Hydrogen Bomb. Sunprod!
Sunprod stole the gold! He stole the gold! But Layers put him in a lamp and took him down right after. So a bit of revenge from Layers, but that's not going to make up for that 3rd gold Fury Pip that was just robbed from you. Snatty chasing down Layers, still has one more jump. A little wide, but that's fine. We're looking at Doug instead. Rimakami trying to peel for the back line. A huge City in Torment knocks up Few, but a Tally in response to make sure that nobody gets knocked up. It's Single Bind on the aggression. Hydrogen Bomb on the run. They lost Sunprod and feel that they can't take the fight afterwards, and Layers is still around. Moswall melts Kaidan with the poison darts. Lacerate followed by the Viper shot, so Donut Doug kills another. 3 dead for Hydrogen Bomb, and Snatty left all alone with Moswall and the rest of Single Bind. Deicide for the way of Single Bind as they march towards the Fire Giants.
So good. That was so good.
That was really good.
Mort popped off here.
Yeah,
I was about to swear more.
Your drop, like the awareness to drop, and like you lead up perfectly to Sunprod being in the Fury Pit to just let Mort go crazy. Like it was the perfect lead in to allow Mort to just do everything he needs to just blow his entire load for the fight. Admittedly, you were sick, so like there were definitely moments where I'm like, he was gonna keep going, but unfortunately, if
you weren't sick, this is the team fight we were talking about before. This is goat shit, goat stuff.
Yeah,
sorry,
John, but then, and admittedly, still really good fight. You get it all out, and then you drop because you're like, I'm done.
That was like your best drop of the whole cast.
I'm all over.
It was so good.
Towel time.
Yeah, that was so good. That was just so good all around. Even like there's a world, there's like 10 years ago when there was different casters around that might be like, oh, we're late. You see this Asano. I love everything about that. Like Gore said, you set it up so well. You get to have a fun moment yourself. Mort plays off the fun moment, gets in with you. Mort's got the go button. Like, oh, so good. But what Bobby said here is also true, by the way, that you should hold till the next fight. Just to
if you're in person, I think there's maybe an argument for, oh, you should have dropped earlier since like you could see Layers coming in there.
Yeah.
Or like in that like a world like that where Mort is like doing some gimme hands, like no, let me have this, because like he's coming in there. But like you're online, there's gonna be like there's literal physical limitations to it. So yeah, like the fact that you made that drop happen actually is maybe more insane the more I think about how difficult that kind of thing is to do with the timing we're working with.
Yeah.
I wish VMix let us see each other. I remember being able to experience seeing the other casters when we did that tri-cast. I had
I made them go on video with me so we could see each other, so I could I was doing the I was doing like the director. I literally was getting like,
just like, there it is.
And then there were other times where I'm like, go, like I don't give a shit, go. I don't give a crap, go.
Okay.
Are you guys able
Wish I
to
could do that all the time.
At the moment on Smite Prime, we are not able to see each other. It's something I know they've tried to do, Jithens and Tess, and I think they're still trying to see if there's a way for us to do it, but vMix is a little awkward compared to like VDO, Ninja, and OBS and making it work for us.
What we do is we go on FaceTime. Thank you for laughing. The one saving grace here is Sunprod just respawned. If he can take one Ancient Gold Fury, maybe he can take away the Fire Giant. The burn begins for Single Bind. Really good damage coming out from Moswell and Layers too. The late game menaces, the late game menacai, if you will, plural in the English language is always hard to follow and understand.
I wish
Inbound
was here just for this point he's about to drop in the chat.
Sunprod won't go for the steal this time. So now Single Bind with this Fire Giant. Any day now. There it is. With this Fire Giant, have a pusher on the right side. We can
just to put a bow on Bobby's point, you don't have to shoutcast that. I mean, it's completely fine because there is a sound effect. It's completely fine that you can simply say like, Fire Giant dies or Fire Giant's being burnt, and then continue, or Fire Giant goes to Single Bind. Like you can work it in, but you don't gotta go through the whole fire. There's no world it's being contest. I mean, Kaidon respawned and didn't even ult and bother, so like you can just not ignore the end result and making sure it's noted like, hey, Single Bind got this, but you can just talk right over it.
Yeah, especially because like
oops, sorry.
Mort's drop was already they're gonna go get fire.
Yeah.
So we kind of know like they're gonna do it, and like that's one of those moments of
there's a whole team fight to talk about that happened, and I just decided not to.
In fact,
for some reason.
that entire team fight you can use to lead into. And now that they have the Fire Giant with those kills, respawns are coming through from Hydrogen Bomb, but they're in a great spot. In my ideal world as a tier 1, like from when Mort dropped until they are sieging a tier 2 or maybe even a Phoenix, depending, I don't want to say a damn word because I'm not going to add anything. It's all about your breakdown and your I love to be able to just pull my phone out and not pay attention for about 5 minutes.
Like if we're in person, I'm stepping to the side. I'm pulling my mic up. I'm grabbing a sip of water, putting the water down, putting the mic back, and sitting down. And I still don't want it to be my turn to talk. Like that. That's the vibe there.
And it's really just because like. Not only is it it's your time, but also whatever Mort could do here, like Mort just did the thing. And the next thing might be the end of the game.
Yeah.
So this is your chance to break down the fight, let Mort rest, and realistically set the stage for what is about to happen, right? Cool, they won this fight. You can talk about that. Now they have Fire Giant. Why is this important? Who's the important person to watch? Where's the ball, right? Where is it going to be? What part of the court are we in? Are we going up top right quadrant of the map? Hey, we're going to be pushing the tier 2 in mid, tier 2 in right. Like being able to kind of set the stage for, and now I'll shut up and Mort can just ram this thing into the end and we're good, then you're set. And then, the post-game stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, that's another good point. I mean, it really only applies to this game, but you never know, because today you were casting with a sick chair 1. There could be times you cast with a chair 1 who hurt their voice somehow, or you're doing chair 1 and your chair 2 disconnected, or you're doing chair 2 and your chair 1 disconnected. Haha, that's never happened on Smite Prime, right? And then another chair 1 connects and he disconnects. That's never happened on Smite Prime, right? And now you're doing both. But like, there's a world too where you're almost taking extra time because of the context of this game, knowing Mort's voice is having a tough time and giving him extra time to lead in more than you even would in a normal cast, because there's this unspeaking, it's cool, dude, I'm fine. I know I'm not feeling great. I'd much rather just call the fights and get on with my business.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a famous story about that, actually, with Aggro and Finch, where Aggro hurt his voice and Finch hard carried for the rest of the game. Like, hard carried. Later seasons, season 7, 8 maybe.
7.
Yeah, and Aggro hurt his voice. Finch literally hard carried the game. One of the craziest things I've ever heard. To the point where Aggro, it's like, I mean, Aggro buys him like a sentence at a time at best because his voice was so shot. It was surreal to listen to. But it's that kind of vibe. You just never know. So in this instance, with the rare context that Mort's voice is dead.
Season 6.
Mm-hmm.
I know the map was purple. It was purple map.
Man, that narrows it down, huh?
Yeah, that's all that's there.
we had purple map or white and blue map. We didn't.
Ooh, there's a hint of yellow map. There was a hint of yellow map. Because then there was yellow purple map, which might have been season 5. Thank you.
I remember green map. I think there was a green map at one point with like walls. And Tier stuff. 1 or
Oh yeah, like the old.
probably just back and get some gold. Obshard just got finished up from Oswald. You thought this Jabalanki was doing damage before. Ooh, you ain't seen nothing yet. But the combat blink up for Layers. And also, with no more wishes left in that lamp, I'm really curious to see if Layers decides to sell the lamp and get a different item instead. I mean, Ratatouille would be a really solid pickup for the build here, just to get some extra int. It scales off
like that we keep going, we're finding
adds
things.
some mana, so that Transcendence gives you more strength off of it too, but you could also just go like a Heartseeker here too. That would not be bad at all.
And the only thing that Snatty will be getting is out of there. He's gonna hop in the old. He's gone. He's out. So
I'm gonna leave.
good play from Snatty.
That was good.
I'm exiting stage right. Single bind, marching up the right side of the map, taking down the tier 1.
You correctly said stage right. Such a pet peeve of mine. Casters do this in every game where they bring up stage left and stage right, but they're not actually saying stage left, stage right, because they're saying the literal left and rights. It drives me up a wall, and so many people do this. I had to get that rant out. I just had to.
I probably do it wrong sometimes, if I'm being honest.
I could have held there, huh?
I mean, you could have. I think Moore handled it really well, and like, it's a weird balance. I think if you had a lot of really good points to go to, you could absolutely have just continued. But you also give Mort a moment to get in there, which just breaks up it being your voice for maybe too long. So now Mort can, in theory, drop it to you sometime in the next couple of seconds, and you get right back into it, right? Like, so it's not the end of the world. It's kind of here or there.
Okay.
And Bobby had a thing for you in chat too, Easy.
Yes.
But yeah, like I
mean,
it's a Yorm, and Yorm's got ult, so like he's probably safe. But as much as like we said, you could have talked all the way to tier 2, all the way to Phoenix. Mort had said something, like he had put a couple words in that were full volume, which usually I take as a sign that like he's down to say something. So I don't hate dropping for that reason also, because if he's got something he's been sitting on that he really wants to say, maybe he wants to set a stage, set a thing that maybe he wants to do that, it's fine.
There was a thing that aggro used to do, and you know, talking of hand signals, aggro would do a drop like what you had just done, and
then
like you would not have 2 words in. You would be halfway, if even, through an initial thought, and he'd be doing the gimme hands because he's like, I didn't really genuinely want you to talk. I just needed a breath and you to break up my voice. Now shut up and let me talk again. And so like it's one of those moments like this is probably perfect for exactly that, right? Mort comes in, says the only thing that Snatty's getting is away. And then, like, you know, again, we don't have cameras. We can't really do this. But then immediately kind of recognizing maybe a sentence or two more if you're unsure. But realistically, you can just give it back to Musi immediately and be like, all right, that said my piece.
I am the lunatic, by the way. I do this all the time. Hand signals or not, but especially, like, if there is a way for someone to see my hands. I kind of hate talking. Like, I am the most content, happiest chair one in the world if you just give me some team fights, a game state, and then the end of the game and the objectives. Like, I'm so cool with that. I especially nowadays, I will let you go as long as you want to go, to the point where like when I've cast with Musi a few times, and when Dilo and I have cast doing like other games, like when we've cast Overwatch or when we've cast like Rocket League, there are times where I'm just like, go, do your thing. I don't want it yet. keep going. Now I want it. Like, that's a thing I really, really like to do. And
which,
that's to each their own thing, but
you can also force them to do that. Like, Mort, if you didn't want it, you could just be like, oh, wow, it's Snatty, just gets on out of here. And, like, make it as very obvious that you're not saying anything more. And Musi's like, well, gotta talk again, I guess.
I think I've done that literally, where I've been like, all you, dude. Go ahead, Musi. Like, yes, that can go both ways in between a sloppy fight. Oh, yeah, true.
One tower up here, and I think this is a good way to utilize the FG buffs. You're just kind of looking to take towers away. Meanwhile, Sunprod, along with Hydrogen on the left side of the map, took down the tier 1, and looks like Hydrogen's continuing to split push up the other side of the map. He's gonna almost go for the tier 2, but instead goes back. back to bases. The rest of Single Bind dropped to tier 2 on the right side of the map and approaching the right side bird. Which
Thank you for mentioning
pretty
the
open
structures,
right
by
about
the way.
now. Layers is scattering pressure on the mid lane too.
Sun
Single
Prod
Bind could be looking to collapse onto Sun Prod. Ravikami's there ready for a fight, but couldn't quite find the jump onto Sun Prod. Doug takes down the tier 2 tower in mid lane, and with wide open exposed birds, this is good news for Single Bind. One Ancient Fury pool could mean almost endgame for Hydrogen.
To an extent, I don't know if it needs to be stuff that Musi. So I definitely think Mort has it longer than necessary there.
I'm going to fix this again.
But I think Mort does a really good job with what's given. You gave a good joke with Snatty getting out of there. You set up with where they're at position-wise, right? You're immediately setting up and kind of illustrating they're on the right side of the map. They're pushing tier 2. There is a split push going on, and we'll see how that breaks down. And it's not urgent, so you're not you don't have to hype it up. It's just you're setting the stage, and more so, you're describing the state of the game. Nothing you said was very analytical. It's just these are the things that are happening, which is pretty much what a tier 1 should be doing. And then there's a moment where Musi pops off, mentions Sunprod going in, gives you a place to focus in on. Because now it's not just here's team location, here's where we are on the map. It's here's where the action is actually happening. Then you could probably get out a little sooner after that. Give yourself a moment to breathe and make Musi talk about whatever the hell Musi wants to talk about here.
Power in mid lane, and with wide open exposed birds, this is good news for Single Bind. One Ancient Fury pool could mean almost endgame for Hydrogen.
Yeah, all the birds are exposed. Ancient Gold Fury would be a great pickup here for Single Bind. Plus, they have been begging for that third Gold Fury pip ever since Sunprod took it away from them initially.
Yeah, I know.
With Fire Giant in hand, though, hopefully, nobody actually tries to stop them this go around. Hydrogen Bomb won one game previous. Now looks like they might get robbed of their second game and have to take it all the way to 3. But
this tier 1 stuff.
It's not to say that it's.
I feel like I was just gonna say, are we hunting for something to say here, Musi, or are you trying to? It sounds like you're actively thinking and you're looking and you're like, I'll say this thing while I'm looking for what I want to talk about.
I think that's kind of what's going on, but also I had a lot of big picture story stuff in my head that day where I'm trying to paint a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Although I think I have better context of where my picture is supposed to be this go around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the story outside of the game is more for play by play. The story inside of the game is where I'm really focused on.
I would say yes, but the general thing, I think a chair 2 is allowed to describe some bigger picture stuff as long as you can relate it directly to what's going on. You know what I mean? If you can make it immediately relevant and not just, hey, I'm trying to set up a pillar, that kind of makes the big difference. If you're talking about Hydrogen Bomb, they won the last game and it looks like this one's going pretty rough. I mean, let's look at some slash lines where they are gold wise. Well, don't do gold. Hold on. That's tier 1. But being able to bring it into what they're doing right now. Why are they behind? What did they do in game 1 that was really good that's not happening here? Being able to take the big picture story that you mentioned and make it relevant to what is happening now is the difference between, I think, what the Chair 1 does and the Chair 2 does with the storyline. Because Chair 1, you're painting the big picture so people understand the grand scheme of the tournament. What is the weight? What is going on? Where are we going? You're kind of driving the car. You are taking, the snapshot saying, hey, in the big picture, this was one of the things that was mentioned, and then zooming in real hard to say, this is why it is super relevant to the point I'm making. Mm-hmm. And so being able to take Hydrogen Bomb winning game 1, and then, again, covering what's gone wrong, and how can they right the ship. Make the game interesting still. It's not over yet. Hydrogen Bomb could win this. Is it going to be easy? God, no. But they need to be able to win.
Yeah.
And so, being able to, it's so much easier when you're watching it back than it is when you're there at the moment. But being able to then say, you know what? And there's 6,000 gold down, but we're pretty late in the game. 31 minutes. Everyone's got good experience. And you can look at the builds and start talking about some items. And then, and we're getting late BAME. And, really, I think the target's going to be
team relics too, by
blah,
the way.
blah, blah.
That's a big thing I was just thinking of. Is
that's
really mentioned the team shell, the team beads.
Those are big.
there's a lot like that. Also, another thing kind of worth keeping in mind, new items, right? Like I know we're in finals and you probably have already said this throughout the day, but you're going to repeat yourself anyway, inherently. There's a new item picked up by the E-set that has relevancy into single bind because of all the attack speed. You could talk about Midgard, bring it up. You could talk about bombs and pocket. I know that was always something that Trelly said before every fire giant for the entirety of casting with Trelly was, there's this many pyro bombs in play. There's this many shells in play. Sometimes it almost felt like in a good way where he was like, Anthony, you listen. This is for you. There is these things in play for fire.
Like sitting a child down and being like, so here's what's important, sweetie.
Yeah.
You need to know beads are up.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot we can break down here. Like Screeching Gargoyle is down for this fight. There's a lot of things that I think. It's funny, I think a Musi VOD reviewing his gameplay would probably notice a lot of these things here. Like, I wish we would have gone on a roar. His Gargoyle was down and his Hexstone were down, just for example's sake.
Could have
That's
even
the kind of
looped
stuff
back
that you
around,
can talk about there.
hit the hammer on the head for the Aladdin and the Jabberwocky that we were gassing up early game. Like, all right, well, it is that 28-minute mark for these characters.
Very true.
Guess what? They are one-shotting people. Isn't that nuts? Like,
yeah, because we kind of had our third comeback point when the Aladdin used the immortality to get the fire, or not to get the fire, but to like set up the fight. But I still wouldn't hate like a true final callback when it does matter. Yeah. Oh, also Medusa has dagger, and I don't know if we talked about. Maybe we did, but I'm not sure. And Doug having dagger is always really scary. So I like pointing that one out in particular because I feel like that dude's got some of the nastiest dagger usage of like anybody.
Right? There's always opportunities to make plays. Looking at Hydrogen here, Deathbringer's online for the Honor now. So
give her a second.
Big damage spike. If they're able to connect with some damage, looks like you could find a roar. But sorry.
City Torment doesn't pull, unfortunately. Aurora looking to set up the team, but couldn't quite find the pull. That's fine. I think a big thing to remember here is that there's not a lot of CDR for Aurora's build. These abilities that he's casting mean a lot.
Okay.
You know, you've got to hit it right the first time or second time. There's a it's important that you connect with these. So it is what it is. But Aurora will have that ult up, sooner
if you
than later.
swap what you said and what Mort said, holy crap,
around the jungle. They have the fire giant still. It's up for another minute. They could go for Ancient Fury. The dagger was used and almost went away wasted. So
I just had Mifflin flashbacks to the left trade rolls. I'm like, oh no, just sit in your chair.
Try not to. Really, it just kind of feels like single bind can't do too much with the time that's left with this fire giant. So we're setting ourselves up for the next fire giant. Realistically,
we're almost there.
It is interesting to see that we didn't go for Ancient Gold Fury. It really felt like that third Gold Fury pip would have been very nice for those Phoenix Sieges, especially when all the birds are exposed. Like, could have gotten 2 birds with 1 stone, maybe 3 birds with 1 Fury up top. But
not bad.
At this point, yeah, not bad. Like a 6 out of 10. We're
my god,
give it like a 7.5.
Fire Giant as it comes up. Now we're taking a look at gold, but Fire Giant's about to wear off. I would love to see Sunprod get active here.
I do too. I think it'd be
I think that was great, by the way.
Doug secures the goal.
Maybe got a little mercy with doing on the nuke, but it was good.
Room, and the third Gold Fury pip for single bind means that single bind will gain protections. It will gain stats around enemy structures. So single bind will actually be stronger than they normally are when it comes to sieging. This is bad news for Hydrogen Bomb because they're already having a bit of a tough time with some of these fights. Granted, they've had some good fights too. Sunprod has had some very good moments this game, but it's all about momentum. And Single Bind have momentum going into this next FG pull. But should momentum swing the way of Hydrogen Bomb, this is an EFG. Enhanced Fire Giant means that it's basically game over if Hydrogen Bomb can kill at least 3-4 members of Single Bind.
I mean, I think we've seen already today some crazy EFG defenses.
Yeah.
From I believe it was the Gospel of John, just sticking it to dirty water earlier today. So if Hydrogen Bomb has got that dog in him, they might be able to pull something off. Single Bind, though, not interested in EFG right away. They want to try to get a pick before we establish ourselves around this EFG. It is a tankier objective to pull. It takes a lot more investment, so it's not something you can really bait around too much, because if you play with fire, you're going to end up getting burned.
Aurora spitting fire with ghastly breath. Summon Styx is out, and Kaidon gets a bit of a distraction. The Phantom Shell forced out, and Layers is in a bit of trouble. Taken down extremely low, but not quite killed. Layers is A-okay. We'll dash back to safety through the mid lane. Single Bind now on the retreat, considering Remakami got poked out. Layers almost got destroyed. Hydrogen Bomb have an advantage going into the EFG for now, but still not enough of an advantage to just drop it all together. So they're going to play pretty safe and maybe call back to it later.
Ultimate comes out from Snatty, mostly there just to make some space and cause some noise between the comms of
I can physically, I can literally see in my head music going like this.
Like, I can't see your picture. I have to look at the stream to like,
like hands on your chin, rubbing your beard, like rocking side to side. I can see this music in my head and what's going down. Like I can see your explanation voice.
What are we doing? Layers is not going to have ultimate for a little bit. It should be coming up soon, though, because of that Yoden's Revenge. So now we look to pull the EFG. This is 100% a bait.
Yeah, I like that too.
Mort from Single Bind, but the burn tells me that they might just commit to it.
They might. It's down to 5. It's down to 4.
They're committing.
Who's going to take it? Kaidon stole! Kaidon stole! Over the wall. Kaidon stole the EFG, but Single Bind will continue to fight right after.
What are we doing?
Sunprod just killed Layers. Remakami is low. Aurora is getting chased down. Donut Doug by himself. And Moswell on the run from Sun Prodigy.
What?
Double kill goes the way of Hydrogen Bomb, and with EFG buffs across the team, triple kill for Sun Prod. Deicide for Hydrogen Bomb.
Tough buffer.
In the Titan room for Single Bind is about to explode.
I can't believe that.
Dude!
What are we doing? What just happened? Why? It was like a perfect opportunity to bait Hydrogen into a fight, but to commit to the burn there is a Charon with ultimate. Sun Prod just sold your ancient Gold Fury. You think he's gonna let you get away with the Fire Giant? Good lord. I cannot believe that. 2-0 Hydrogen Bomb.
All right. Everything about that was really good until you said 2-0 Hydrogen Bomb. I was
just gonna say the same thing. It was even you talking over the
until you said that.
It's fine.
That's
you gotta leave the 2-0.
You can stop because you keep the energy up. So it's really it's so annoying when teams end before they end. Does that make sense? Like when that game is over in the left side jungle by the tier 1 on Hydrogen Bomb side. But now you've got 30 seconds that you still need to be excited for because the Titan still has to die. And so you do a great job carrying the energy. Mort gets it up there. Mort brings it up because it's the triple kill. It's the Deicide. Yeah. You highlight. Now it's the Titan room. That's where they're going. And then Musi, you keep the energy going. The only thing that needs to change in any of that is at the very end, you shut the hell up and don't say anything about a 2-0. And Mort gets to come in and say the Titan goes down 2-0. He gets that big, this is the end moment. And then you guys can keep going on whatever else you want to talk about from there. But just making sure that that's the trade and where the torch goes.
We talked about Dwarf earlier from the caster. I remember that was one of the most controversial parts of the caster was, I might have been Dwarf who did this, but somebody called over a Titan dying. I think it was a chair 2, or I know it was a chair 2. A chair 2 talked over the Titan dying from the chair 1. And there was a little bit of controversy, a little bit of debate about it because it was a fight like that. Like Gore said, it's so good. Just even though you can talk over the Titan dying, because obviously if their respawns are 15 seconds and the Titan is dead, it doesn't there's no point in you calling that, but still let Mort put the cherry on top himself. You can set up all the icing because we're that deep, but Mort's gotta be the one to clean it up and actually say not just for voice reasons, but for just keeping it clean and tidy. He's the one, you said it earlier, putting the bow on it. Everything else though was so good. Mort, your end call was really good. I think the only thing, and I think this got mentioned in chat a little bit, I'm a little bit of... I don't say ability names as much as most casters who make it far do. Shout out D'Lo. Shout out JMac, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact. All right, again, behind the scenes, there's a point we took a Smite quiz. Me, Aggro, JMac, I want to say Trelly, Mifflin, Dave.
Yeah, I've heard this.
JMac won.
That's correct. Yeah.
JMac, he answered. He had the best score on the quiz for Smite because bro just knew so damn much about the game. It's insane. Steel Trap for names. I can't remember any of them.
Yeah. So I'm not a huge stickler for like saying everyone. I love saying big ones and ones that are impactful. Mort did a little bit of that. Like I think Mort hit like every summon Styx or every Stygian Torment in that game. There's a few more that he could have hit, and I think that would really help with the spacing and kind of imagining where people are in the map, which we've talked about. But the overall flow, and in particular, Mort, your like the variation in your tones and your energy was so good on that end. Like that was the best part of it. I think if you just add in a touch of the where they're at, where they're doing this, where they're, it really, really could elevate it more. But what's cool is it already is elevated on its own. There was a few voice things I wanted to talk about with you, Mort, but I really didn't hear them. I think a lot of it was because you were sick, but also I know you've been working on them anyway. So like I'm not as concerned about it. Maybe in the future when we do more of these. What's the end like? I feel like that's important.
I cannot believe what we just witnessed. What looked like a decisive victory for single bind. One good play would have brought that together. And Hydrogen Bomb just flipped the table over and said, "We don't like tables." Like,
right, my bad, bro. I didn't know you didn't like tables like that. That's on me. I thought it was a table party. Wow. Like, what? I can't believe that. I'm stressed out.
Glad I let that play.
I'm stressed out.
I'm really glad I let that one play. Woo, that was good. I'll let you guys see yourselves now on stream, so we can kind of give like we made it to the end. John Smite Prime's gone to bed, but we made it to the end, baby.
Woo!
And now everyone probably understands why commentary review was a sometimes food. That was one game for one pair of casters.
I think the one we had before Vegas was like 5 hours.
I went to Aggro's before Season 10 Worlds. Me, Dave, Miff, Trelly. I think we invited other people, but I can't remember if anybody else could get there. Because I remember we went, like, it was after work. Like, we just finished casting. We go over to do commentary review. I was there much later than it maybe was advisable, because we were just... Sometimes you just got to yap about the game.
And me. I agree. Inbound, do you guys have a great personality for casting? I think so, too. And you're getting... We didn't really talk about this because I feel like these kind of need like their own, like both shorter and more in-depth conversations. You're also both getting a lot more comfortable on camera, so that's really big. I know that was like an awkward thing at first because, given the elephant in the room context of even why Smite Prime got elevated so quickly, it was tough to get just thrown on camera all of a sudden on Smite Game once a weekend. Like that, that's tough to adjust to quickly. But I think you both have gotten a lot more comfortable with it. You both spike the camera, you're both moving around. Mort in particular, because I know Mort's been working at it a lot. Mort, you're getting a lot better at like making sure when you're on it, you're not like you're like, animating more than you even think you need to. It's help. It's noticeable, I guess, is the big thing. How do you both feel?
I have a lot of push-ups to do. There are so many push-ups that I have to do. I think I got mixed up. I don't know. I flip back and forth between holding for too long and then not holding long enough. And I think I'm in my not holding long enough phase. So I just gotta like think hold up. We gotta we gotta swap.
Yeah.
It's like
I feel like you've gotten that feedback a lot, you know what I mean? Like obviously every time you do VOD review, I do VOD review with you because we're casting a lot majority of the time, and I feel like you got that a lot. In the beginning was like, you hold the mic too much, like blah blah, and then Hindu would tell us like, more, you've got to talk more, and then like now we're in like the opposite situation, you know what I mean? So we have to find like that middle ground. Yeah,
and that will
overcorrecting,
happen
exactly,
on
yeah.
repeat on a loop for as long as you cast. I fear.
Yay!
You,
Woohoo! We're doing it.
The overcorrect one way to go back the other way to clean up one thing just to mess up another. Like mine was like my biggest issue was absolutely the like drowning my tier 2 and answering the questions I was asking them, and then my solution became like throwing the microphone back at them after fights and never asking another question again. So then I got once my prime started up, I had to adjust and be like, okay, wait, Musi and Book, and I think I only did one cast of Blaze. Like they kind of need these questions for me. They need a little bit of like me like bearing the lead slightly compared to before and having to adjust back to it. And now like that you guys are more comfortable, I can kind of go back to the like, okay, I'm out. This is all you. Like I don't want to step on your toes. It's always gonna, the pendulum swings one way just to come back another.
And also, and this is just gonna be true, I think, of anything that is a like casting at the end of the day is, you know, it's a performance. It's like when you're playing music. I've been playing bagpipes for 25 years. I have played
by the way.
Scotland the Brave more times than I've maybe said my own name in my lifetime, right? Even introducing my, like, things like that. But like, sometimes you're going to play it real good. Sometimes you're going to play this song you played 1,000 times terribly. It's just sometimes like you never know what you're going to get on the day. Sometimes there's a mental block that you don't even realize. Like you could be feeling great, but then there's just something that's slightly off and you don't really know what. And then now that you feel slightly off and you think something's slightly off, now you're suddenly really off, and like it kind of, you know, can spiral. And then sometimes you're having a really bad day, but then you get like a good 5 minutes and you're like, damn, wait a minute. Screw the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Like I'm in on this. And like, so like any performance, and like the better you get, there's always going to be stuff to work on. And the fundamentals never stop being important. Like, all of it is always still important. There's stuff that I've said that y'all were doing in this that I still do. And sometimes I'll catch myself in the cast and I can correct it because now I'm like, oh, I know that that's a problem. But like, sometimes it just happens, right? And like, I think the joy of it is that it is a live art, and it's like a live, almost improvisational, you know, creation that you're making with somebody else.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means it's gonna be real good, sometimes it's gonna be okay. Like, and sometimes you're gonna, you know what, you're gonna go through 12 hours of a Challenger Cup day and you're just happy that you made it through the whole thing. Like there's gonna be a couple of moments where you get a little bit of everything. It's really fun. And then also, yeah, as Inbound just said, there are gonna be people who just hate you for you. There was one guy who, like, they told me they didn't like my casting. I took the bait. I asked why, and they said, I just don't like your voice. And I'm like, that's like the one thing I literally can't work on. I can't change that, as it turns out. And so like, there's gonna be, you know, I don't like looking at comments. I know it's kind of hard to sometimes, like, you know, you can go into the YouTube comments or watching Twitch chat.
If you're a newer caster, do not even think about reading the chat when you're casting.
I think me and Malum had maybe one of my like favorite 15 minutes of just absolute funny, probably really off topic stuff on Saturday that I thought was absolutely hilarious. I dread looking at the comments because while I think it's funny, I guarantee there's going to be people like, why the hell are they not talking about the game? It's a finals. Like, shut the hell up and just talk about the game. And like, sometimes you just gotta, like, as weird as it is, you're putting on a performance for a lot of people who probably aren't going to appreciate it. And so the idea is to just put something that you're happy with, and as long as it's good enough to enough people, it'll get you there.
I remember,
but also, your name was Butt Lovers. I'm gonna make jokes, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
You guys also got put into a tough position. You've done really well with that too. Like, just, you know, obviously, like that. That I think that is worth considering in terms of like commenters and how people would react to casting. Because Smite Prime's in a very awkward spot. That it's like, you know, a million things can be said about how you got there. But all that aside, main point being, everyone's done really well with just being able to handle the like, okay, I'm not going to let this bother me, like the projection of others. That's been a big thing too. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, I remember one of the first like comments I got was like, why does this guy laugh so much? And the first cast I ever have with Gore, we're both cackling, and I'm like, Right. So
that's the other half of it. Another good reason, this is just general life advice. You're always going to remember the negative stuff way more than you remember the positive stuff. I can remember people who did not like my Paladins cast. There was a guy, his name was Cool Guy Ian. I'm calling him out because he doesn't watch content anymore. He watched Paladins. It was me and Dave. We had been doing it for a year and a half at this point. Let me rephrase that. I had been doing it for over a year and a half at that point. Dave had been doing it for like 8 months. We're going to do the World Championship Finals. We already knew we were doing the World Championship Finals. The minute this guy heard either of our voices, it's Dave and Gore, I'm out. Did not like our cast. Hated us. And so I hope that it burned, but it's been almost a decade, and I still remember his damn username. And admittedly, it was Cool Guy Ian on Mixer, so let's be clear, it was a Mixer user. But like, insane, like, remembered. And you know what? I'm sure people were absolutely glazing me after the season 10 World Finals. That was not even 2 full years ago, and I can't remember any of it. I also drank a lot that night, so that might have something to do with it. But you know.
Yeah. I had two. I had two that were tough. Well, I had 3 that were tough. I got brought on to be the only person added for the Smite 2 team, just like a Smite 2 caster, just for every comment during my like debut stream to be, why are we broadcasting this piece of junk? Like that was fun. And then it was after that, it was God, this guy sounds like GoreMiser. And then after that, it was...
Which, depending on how you feel, either a compliment or a negative. You'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. But then they put us together, and I hear it less, personally. And then the third one, which was a lot of fun, is, oh, Dulcin's back? Get this idiot Malum off my screen! Where is King Dulcin?
Where's Dulcin?
Which were all 3, like, things that kept happening that I had just programmed my own brain for each one. It was like, who cares if they don't like the game? I'm casting Smite 2. I'm on the team. I'm getting paid to do this. I don't care. It's awesome. Second one was, like Gore said, I was like, I love Gore's casting. I model a lot off it. I guess it's really cool. I don't think I sound like him, but I can hear what they mean in technique and stuff, so I'll take that as a compliment, because I'm the new guy. I want to be noticed for sounding like one of the other pros, because that means I sound like one of the pros. And in the Dulcin one, I don't care. Like, yeah, be excited for Dulcin Cast. That jumps the viewers. You're here watching me, idiot. Like, you might be asking what he's on, but it doesn't say you're muted, so you're listening and you're watching me. So I don't care. And then by the end, getting to see those comments go silent is almost the most satisfying part, because then it stopped being that. It started being, you know, there'd be some people excited to see me, but there'd be more people saying nothing, which was good. So
it's a thankless job. Yep. If you're doing it right, the same thing with production. If you're doing it right, nobody says
a damn
thing.
Word. Yep.
Because that means that they don't notice that it's happening. They are just absorbed in the broadcast.
Yep. Any let's start. Any like final things either for either Mort or Musi you guys want to bring up, ask about?
Well, it kind of sucks because I feel like the issues that I'm working on, I still am having issues with. Like, I feel like I'm getting better at like other stuff. The variance thing is pretty recently. And that's something I need to start working on. Obviously, like, you know, you've brought that to me a couple times, but I feel like it's only like something more recently I've tried to work at. One thing I've had like a bigger issue with is like saying the same thing over and over. Like, the crapper phrases. I can't say what it's really called, but you know, the crapper phrases.
They will always exist.
The PG version of it is casterisms. That's what I write down. I have a casterisms notebook or like notebook page on my desk.
Yeah. So I've still got those, but I think between that and then variety in tone, I think those are like my 2 big issues. I wrote down a lot of stuff. I have like a whole Google Doc that I like put notes down on, and like, you know, there's stuff I can work on too. Getting out faster is like another big thing. That's like, I feel like
you didn't do it this game at all, by the way, because one thing I was totally prepared to call you out on and almost be a little bit like, Mort, you got to fix this, is you repeating what Musi said back when you first pick up the microphone, and I didn't really hear that in this cast, so that's awesome, because that was like the only thing that I was like, that's a thing that's got to be worked on, because an easy habit because you say it in conversations where they say something, you go, oh yeah, this thing that does the thing, right. But casting, it doesn't sound the best because it makes it sound like you didn't listen. But like I said, it wasn't in this cast like at all. Like I didn't hear you do it, so I didn't bring it up. So
I did it in another game. I just chose for us to not watch it.
I let Mort pick the game.
Oh, I love that from Inbound. Never lose your personality for perfection. You'll never reach it, and you'll get boring. 100%.
Yeah, it's more interesting to be you than it is to be a good commentator. Like, and this actually, I've learned that when I get better at things, I become a very big snob. When I am listening to, I'm going to call out the ESPN team because like their NHL broadcasts are just so damn bad. They're just so boring to listen to. And it is like, there's a little bit of everything. I think like it could have some more personality, but like the fact that like the two of you, like, first off, you've done a lot together. So like you're comfortable with each other, but like you're willing to let the jokes go. You're willing to like be cringe. I hate the term, like there's definitely things that are cringe, but like people used it and like kind of like to create like a shell, but like just be you, bro. Like, you know, and the people who like you will like you, and the people who don't can, you know, go fuck themselves.
Period. Bleep that out.
Yeah, no, there's a
true.
beep somewhere.
I stood on business with that because look, I won't name names. Gore knows this. Gore and I've had this conversation before when I was first starting and I was very nervous to be starting. I will always stand on business that there was so many people that disliked so many little things about my casting, whether it was like that sometimes I'd go fast, sometimes I'd go too slow, how much I would get so excited if I got excited, like how much I would like flat out stop and tell a joke. There were so many little things that I supposedly had to fix if I was going to make it. And don't get me wrong, some of them I had to clean up, but I never like stopped doing them because I was like, if I have to stop doing them, then like that's not fun. I don't want to just be a cookie cutter version of somebody else who's already casting for like a different game, you know? I didn't do them, and like I've done enough to a point where I'm very happy with how I did, and I really didn't change that much about my casting. I fixed like the foundational pieces of technique, but I still feel like I'm me, you know? Like I feel like my Vegas casts are me. I feel like the silly casts I do at one of the wordings still every now and again are me, and I'm very happy with that. And I think that's a big key, just to Inbound's point of never lose your personality. Like it's literally required. All the best Smite casters and all like that people remember forever and talk about to this day, good or bad. It's because their personalities came through in their casting and they stood on business about their personality. It wasn't going to change.
So
Musi, your
more
thoughts?
6-7 jokes is what I mean.
Too far.
Yes.
Do you have any like final
Yes.
ones, Musi? I don't want to. I know you didn't get to.
No. Oh no, it's fine. I think one of the big through lines I've noticed through a lot of the critique that I've gotten, or I think an underlying issue that I have, I think has to do with maybe a bit of confidence in being confident in being like, okay, cool. No, I can definitely hold the mic more because this is my time. I'm allowed to have this time and I can, you know, get into the nitty gritty of these things because for the people that are listening to me, they care about the things that I'm talking about. It is interesting to them, right? If it's interesting to me, it'll be interesting to other people. Like there's the audience that cares about the cool stuff that happens, and then there's the audience that cares about the cool stuff that's happening that enables the cool stuff that happens, right? So I really want to make sure that I'm a little bit more comfortable really digging into things and taking the time to dig into it and really flesh things out and explain the points and explain the thought process. Because somebody out there is going, yeah, that's dope, right? Like, oh, cool. I didn't know that. Oh, that's why this works the way that it works. Like one of the reasons why I like being a C2 is because I like all the little things that happen in Smite that end up at the end of a game. Like oh, this stupid little interaction over here makes me geek out, right? Like, erosion on a Kerberos? Let's go, dude. This item's sick for all these reasons. It's first build. We're prioring it over everything else. Prophetic or Eye of whatever it is. The warding active is being picked up pretty frequently right now, but we're building this one instead. Wow, isn't that awesome? Isn't this cool? Yes. Yeah, I like getting like all kinds of all the other things. I very specifically remember focusing on back in Brazil founders, the there was a CERN
Definition
that
of passion
had like
casting.
an int build that was like, dude, he gets like 27.5% penetration on autumn stance because he has these items, and if he can't go any more intelligence items because it like doesn't matter after the certain matter percent, blah blah blah. It's like a team fight about to happen. I'm like, dude, this penetration is so cool. Like just knowing where to put that is kind of the big thing. But having the confidence to be like, no, you're gonna listen to me talk about, you know, max mana on an Aladdin build because it is relevant. I think it's relevant. Now you do too, right? So I'm cheesing is the big is what it's got. You just got cheese.
Finally, final thoughts from the miser. Our goal next week will probably be 2 hours. That's my internal goal.
Yeah,
bro, I'm still impressed that you're saying next week, bro.
Well, it might work out since there hasn't been like any difference in casters yet until we can get D'Lo and Spirited Book in the torture chamber.
The I don't know. The biggest thing is like recognize that any feedback that comes through is not a like there's some things of a hey, you know what, work on this, but like there's always going to be like the small, like again, the details that you're in the middle of where you can, oh, I need to grab this, or oh, I need to work on that. And sometimes again, the same things that you fixed 1,000 times are going to crop up and you're going to be like, damn it, I did it again. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, as long as you are, and this is how I like to try and live myself with products, anything that I put out, whether it's a cast or if it's like music or a video or whatever, as long as you are happy to say, I did that, if you can go back and then watch it later and you're like, damn, I sucked, that means you grew. That means you did a lot in the meantime. And you just gotta keep on keeping on. I actually like that cast was very good. The fact that Morty was sick and slammed that as well as you did, like, is insane to me.
So impressive.
I think the two of you work incredibly well together. Like, there was a lot there that was like just nothing but positives, and that's why it's like, okay, cool. That's when you notice that, hey, I kept doing X, and now I feel like I do X too much. And now next time when you don't do X, unfortunately, it does mean something else is going to end up causing trouble. But like, you'll feel it, and like the casts are going to just feel so damn good, and they're going to be so good to listen to. And I'm just pumped. Let's bring it on.
Yeah. That is the goal at the end of the day, and that's why we're doing these. If you liked them, let Jithin's John Smite Prime know that you liked us doing these casting reviews. The goal is once a week. We'll see about that one, but we'll have more coming forward, whether you're a new caster who learned something today, a player who got some understanding, or just somebody who likes a bit of a peek behind the curtain. Thanks for watching, and let us know if you enjoyed it. And check out all the things Smite Prime every Saturday at noon on twitch.tv/SmiteGame, plus a little bit of Sundays now, early in the morning, 9 a.m. has been the start time recently. So check those out. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Thank you, chat, for talking and adding all your stuff. For myself, Gore, Morty, and Musi, good night, everybody. Bye.